Oh my god. Okay, so we've got good levels, we've got good mics.
Good.
Let me just rip my vape like a diesel truck exhaust, and then we can get cracking.
Wow, you ripped it so much. It's so smoky in here. I looked up and I was like, oh my god, the ghosts are back.
The light.
What?
It gives an ambiance like haze.
Yeah, it's very hazy in here.
Hazy IPA. My brain is pudding.
I don't like pudding.
I like pudding too.
I don't.
Oh, do you like custard?
Nope, it makes me gag. I throw it up. Are you ready now?
Yes.
Welcome back, 2.9ers, to your weekly scheduled fucked up Reddit stories program. A time where we get to sit back, take a break from our messed up lives, and watch or read all about those dirty little secrets that you try to keep hidden just so that no one knows how psycho you really are. In other words, grab your bubbly, get comfy, and let's get judgmental. Oof, 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 oof.
Fuck yeah.
Because we all know you're thinking it. Let's get it.
Hey, listen up. Before we start our weekly scheduled podcast, we'd like to cover our asses. The content in this podcast is for educational and entertainment purposes alone and should not be interpreted or construed as official advice or instruction of any kind. We're blowing a 4.0, so please listen responsibly and enjoy.
So today we are going to be reading from the Reddit thread called Off My Chest. This was posted a month ago from Psych Factor. You know, I've been reading this the entire time and I thought it said Psych Father, but yeah. So fair warning, this is going to be more like a 10-part episode because this is a long one. So just get ready for this to be broken up and yeah. Okay, so title, comment. Yes, I think my husband fathered his best friend's children, and now one of them is attracted to my daughter. Calling, it's giving Game of Thrones.
That's your sister? What's wrong with you?
I was just gonna say, so your child's half-sibling, potential half-sibling.
Yeah. Your husband's
That gives me the willies.
kid from his best friend. Let's deep dive into this motherfucking disaster of a relationship. Okay, all names are fate. This began as a dark, intrusive thought that I could never shake off, and over the years it has bloomed into a poison flower that infects my entire psyche. So I'm assuming this lady is, I don't know, a writer in this world because how she writes is very poetic. Maybe she's just...
Maybe she had a chat.
Maybe she's theatrical. Who knows? Okay, I'm a 42-year-old woman. My husband, Luke, is 43, and so is Amy, his best friend, just for clarification. I met Luke in college, but he's known Amy since they were about 7. They did everything together and understood each other implicitly. Yes?
Yes.
I still think that's the wrong word for the sentence.
I don't think that's the right word. They They implicitly understood each other, maybe. Maybe it's I don't know.
Maybe, I don't know. Anyways, they were best friends. They've always insisted that they are surrogate siblings to each other. Naturally, I, as the new girlfriend, felt a little threatened by Amy and her closeness to Luke, but they always reassured me I had nothing to worry about, that their bond was not romantic and never had been sexual, that Amy really was just the sister that Luke never had. I believed them, and it didn't take long for me to forget any and all insecurity I had about Amy. She became my best friend too. She officiated our wedding. That's nice. Luke and I have built a wonderful life together, and we always had a strong relationship. After we got married and moved in together, we still saw a lot of Amy, and I was fine with that. I've passed many nights on the town. Okay, when someone says that, I'm like, I'm sorry. How, girl, I've passed many a night on the town.
She sounds like she knows how to write in cursive.
I told you, she's theatrical. She's theatrical. Trying to help Amy find a man, as she has always lamented how she is unlucky in love. Blech. Luke and I started to have children after we were married, and at around the same point, so did Amy. Cool. For further context, my children are Sophie, who's 15, Owen, 12, Luis, 10, and Carter, 6. Amy's children are Tom, 17, Kaylee, 14, the twins, Adam and Jenna, 9. So 3 of those kids correlate with each other. Because Sophie is 15, Kaylee's 14, the twins are 9, and Luis is 10.
So it sounds like when she was pregnant, he was hitting up
Back and forth.
Right?
Yeah. Now, Amy was not in a relationship at this point. She was not married. As far as I knew, she was dating, but not consistently. As Luke and I had more kids and our family grew, periodically Amy would find herself pregnant as well. It happened a few times, and Luke and I never knew anything about the fathers in question. I kind of assumed that maybe Amy was sleeping around and not keeping in contact with her one-night stands, or she was like going to one of those fertility banks.
Yeah.
But wouldn't you tell your best friends about that?
I mean,
Whatever. We're gonna keep going. Luke agreed this was probably the answer. While I did not, of course he did. While I did ask each time if Amy knew the paternity, she always said no, and she didn't seem that worried about the idea of raising kids on her own, so I didn't pester her. Of course, she had us to support her, so there was that. While Amy never asked for any help, of course, Luke was never going to let his best friend struggle. To stay afloat when... Sorry, I read that wrong. Of course, Luke was never going to let his best friend struggle to stay afloat when she had children to raise. Financially, we are very fortunate and privileged. I have a job that pays handsomely, and Luke also had wealthy parents who already knew and loved Amy, so they were happy to provide for her. My in-laws My in-laws defy all stereotypes. They are the kindest and gentlest people. So we're able to help support Amy. To get her somewhere to stay for her kids, people might be tempted to call her a leech, but I never saw it that way. None of us did. We needed help and we could provide it. Wait.
She needed.
Yep, that one. Sorry, I'm like already reading ahead. I also know people are going to criticize her for her lack of responsibility and question why she never used more reliable birth control. Honestly, that is a long story that I don't want to get into because even I don't fully understand her reasoning. Suspicious. But it was quite important to her that she never be on birth control and that whatever came of that choice.
Yeah, whatever came.
She would accept. It wasn't religiously motivated, I know that, but it was that degree of significance to Amy. She really did not want to take birth control. She explained it to me more than once, but I still am not clear on why. Of course, Amy being Luke's best friend since they were kids, it's not unreasonable that sometimes they hang out together while I'm not there. Ugh. Hey, that's fine. Sometimes I hang out with Amy one-on-one as well, though Luke does it more. She was his friend first. Okay, pause. I don't even know how to come about this question. You're married, correct?
Yes.
Do you have a best friend that you hang out with more than your wife?
No.
Okay. If you do hang out with them, is it with your wife? That's a woman? Like your best friend that's a woman from childhood?
I mean, I don't have one of those, so...
So, I get...
You're really the only woman I hang out with, other than my wife?
But we don't even hang out. Like, we are literally, working.
That's what I'm saying.
I don't even know how to, phrase this question, because to me, it's weird if you have a girl best friend who you hang out with a lot, but not with your wife. Does that make sense?
Yeah, and I mean, I get that they're best friends, I guess, maybe. If they're childhood best friends, you wouldn't say this stuff if it was a dude we were talking about, but, there's no other implications.
But you're already married. You got married, you have, I don't know. I don't know how to, explain this.
The thing. I guess I get what you're trying to say. If you're hanging out with your female best friend from childhood more frequently than with your wife, that's a problem.
Yeah.
If you're spending more of your free time with your childhood best friend versus with your wife. And I get every once in a while, yeah, we're going to go do something for the day. Then, okay, you're not going to hang out with your wife. But if it's consistent.
Luke does it more.
Okay, that's what I'm saying.
That tells me right there, yeah, it's more than, yeah. Oh, God, she was his first friend. To me, that's just a little bit of a red flag.
I mean, yeah.
This included him going to where she was staying and at times sleeping over there.
Okay.
This is already getting to the point where I'm like, no, this is surpassed friendship.
And again, there are certain implications with all of this, and my dude is hitting all of the implications at once, seemingly, you know what I mean?
Yeah. So was I fool to trust him and believe nothing was going on? Perhaps. But for years they presented as being buddies, like siblings. I didn't pick up on any vibes between them, not ever. As one can expect, our children were brought up together. Not in the same house. Our home is decently sized, but even we don't have the room for 8 kids. But we made sure Amy's children met ours from a young age, and they always got along and strong bonds of friendship have formed over the years, which is good, especially if I'm right and they share blood. Oh, God.
Awkward.
I've been dawdling getting to the main point. Yes, I have come to suspect that Luke fathered at least one of Amy's kids, if not all of them. Frankly, I do suspect they're all his. I would never have believed my husband to be capable of such a thing, and he's given me no indication that he is the unfaithful sort. But he does spend a lot of time with Amy, and I have to confess I cannot remember seeing her with any real boyfriends over the years. She would talk to men at bars and parties. I would try to be her wingman and so on. But nothing ever seemed to really happen. So when she got pregnant for the first time, I was curious. When it happened again and again, I began to wonder if she had some sort of secret fella who she didn't want us to know about or for whatever reason. But I couldn't think of any reason why she would hide him, especially from her children. Wait, I need to go back to the names to make sure that this is correct. Okay, perfect. Because I know she said in the beginning that all names are fake, but I'm making sure that like they match up.
Yeah.
Okay.
She didn't like slip somewhere.
Yeah. After Carter, our youngest, was born, Luke and I agreed that the time had come for him to have a vasectomy. So Luke to have a vasectomy.
I was gonna say the way that's worded sounded like,
Right?
okay, this little boy needs a vasectomy.
Amy's twins had come just a couple years prior. Of course, after the procedure, Luke and I continued to make love, but I no longer had to think about pregnancy. Not true. Vasectomies are reversible and they can break, just letting you know. Meanwhile, Amy never got pregnant again after the twins. Is it a coincidence? Oh my God, I was thinking this before I even read this. Is it a coincidence that Luke had a vasectomy and then both of us stopped getting pregnant? I don't know, but Luke would still visit her, and he wasn't just going to see her, but checking up on her children as well. In general, I should have paid more attention to it sooner, but Luke has always acted like a father to them, especially as they've gotten older. He's the father they never had. He doesn't neglect me or our children, not one bit. He's doing double duty. On its own, the idea that he's a surrogate father to Amy's fatherless children isn't inherently suspicious. One could call it noble, but it combines with a lot of other little things. Bro.
There's a lot of stuff lining up there, dude.
Dude,
And
okay.
realistically, it could all be coincidence. And
There's no way.
But,
There's
like,
no way that he got a vasectomy and she never got pregnant again.
well, I mean, like 4 kids, you know what I mean? But like, that's what I'm saying. It lines up a little too well. And like the fact that they were so close, like as like family units, I guess, and that this woman never
Even
brought
his parents.
Well, she said the other woman never brought any of the boyfriends around, or like she never saw her
She
interact.
was unlucky in love, which doesn't make sense because that means you're holding on to love somewhere else. Like, whatever. Okay. There is appearance as well. I was just about to ask,
Yeah.
how much do these kids look
You know
like
what?
him?
Can I just jump in really quick?
Yeah.
You know what would solve all this is this coming Christmas, just get a whole big pile of 23andMe tests and
Yeah.
see how
like,
everyone reacts.
Merry fucking Christmas.
Yeah.
Yep. I won't go into specifics of hair color, eye color, or unique physical traits because I'd rather limit the identifying factors of the people involved and keep this whole thing as vague as possible. But suffice it to say, okay, Amy's children, they certainly look like they could be Luke. Kaylee has a very unusual allergy that Luke also has. The twins, yep, that's hereditary. The twins look very much like him, Adam in particular. The older Tom has gotten, the more of Luke I can see in his face and personality. While their race doesn't matter, the reality of it is that Luke is a different race than Amy, and Amy's children look practically biracial. I could easily believe their father is the same race as Luke, but doesn't mean Luke has to be the father. But it sure seems like it. I have never voiced my anxieties to either Amy or Luke. I don't want to be the bad guy and guilty or innocent. I already know they would flatly deny my accusations and be hurt by them. What I want to know is, how many times has this been brought up, like within their marriage and also dating, and how was it shut down?
Ellie, you gotta leave. You gotta lick your butt, dude. How many times like she kind of like questioned this kind of stuff?
And how was it shut down?
Oh gosh, was it just like sidestepped, or was it like argument, and she's like, oh, no.
Yeah.
I mean, realistically, though, you could go get some hair from your husband and find some.
You could go into the house and get hair from each brush and just put it in a bag and send it off.
Yeah.
Dude.
Or carry around a thumbtack and start shanking things.
Imagine if that drama reached the ears of my kids or Amy's. Either way, Luke continues to spend time with Amy and her children, just as her children spend time with mine. I have hinted to Luke that I feel needy for more attention and wish he wouldn't give as much to Amy, but he either misses my cues or pretended that he missed them. I don't want to push this idea that he's favoring her, because it's not really true. He's never neglected me for... No, just no.
Time spent elsewhere is still neglect at a certain point.
Thank you. I'm so glad someone who's married is telling me this. He's never neglected me for her. I just can't shake the feeling that Luke and Amy have been intimate before, like numerous times. Probably 3. As far as I know...
Wait, was that in the thing, or did you say, oh, I get what you're saying?
No, it says likely numerous times, but I said like numerous times.
Oh, I thought you said like 3. And
Like 3. No, that's me saying that.
Yeah, implying that because there's 3 pregnancies.
Yeah.
I get the joke.
You should also look at the factor of twins in his family.
Oh, that's true.
As far as I know, Amy never really wanted to be a mother either. She wasn't open to it, and when each of her children came into the world, she instantly fell in love with them. But motherhood was never really a major part of her life plan or identity. In the grand scheme of things, when we would talk about the future, she would sometimes mention a husband and children, but it never seemed like something she had her heart particularly set on. So I don't think this is the case of Luke just giving Amy children. I doubt that she has a motive. I doubt that was the motive for the infidelity. That would have been a side effect. So he's cheating? How would you not know? Women already have this fucking intuition in the first place.
Well, then I'm the wrong person to ask.
I know, I wish I could have your wife's input on this. You should send her, if she wants to read these, you should send her these Reddits to be like, no, this is it. Because I'm not married, so I'm not going to know. But I'm also a woman, and I know every single time I would think that someone's cheating on me, they would be.
Yeah.
Because it's just something that pops in your head. It's an intuition. It's it's a sixth sense. So, because, whenever I almost said her name, so sorry. Whenever your wife knows there's something wrong, does she ask you?
Yeah.
And something's wrong, right?
Usually. Sometimes I just have a stupid fucking look on my face. I'd say that's 25-30% of the time.
Yeah.
I just have a dumb look on my face.
I don't know. Anyways, I've been letting this go and turning a blind eye for years. It was a dark thought in the back of my mind after Kaylee's allergy was discovered, but I dismissed it. Got worse after the twins were born. I dismissed it. Then, when Amy stopped having babies, I wanted to feel reassured by that. But Luke had gotten a vasectomy. So if anything, that made my anxiety worse. There have been nights that I wish the twins were younger, that they had come along after Luke's procedure. It's been twisting me into knots for a long time, but I don't want to be the one who rips our family apart, especially since technically I could be wrong. You could, but if he has anything to hide, look, here's my thing. If he didn't have anything to hide, he would be like, I will get the test for you. Am I right?
I mean, if she brought it up.
If she was like, I have a feeling this is this, he'd be like,
so has she explicitly said I have brought it up to my husband that I...
No, she keeps saying that she dismissed it.
Okay, so yeah, that's a tough subject to broach, but if it's constant, you should probably say.
If you've literally...
And realistically, if I was accused of fathering other children, I would be hurt, but I would take the test to make sure my name was cleared. I would voluntarily do that right away because I didn't do it.
Yeah.
Unless I did do it, then I would probably be a little bit sheepish about taking a DNA test.
I wonder if that's it. Because this story already has 6 parts to it.
There's a DNA test in there somewhere.
There is. I saw part 5 that said something about a therapist. So who knows? Except now I'm very afraid because in the last few months, we've had a new development in our kids' social circle. Dun dun dun. Oh, fuckity fuck. Damn, this is juicy.
This is moving
Juicy.
to Appalachian territory.
Oh my gosh.
Going back to part 2 of I think my husband fathered his best friend's children and now one of them is attracted to my daughter. Let's see what the fuck happened. Sick. Tom, Amy's eldest, asked Sophie out. Sophie is her eldest daughter. She really blossomed over the few years and became quite the outspoken beauty. So I'm not shocked to see she's getting male attention. But Tom asking her out had me thrown. Sophie said no, but only because I'm quite protective when it comes to her exploring dating, and she knew she'd have to ask me first. Ellie wants out.
Dog hold is over. Ow, I think my appendix just burst. Or I have gas. One of the two that hurt. Oh my god.
I was like, you would know if your appendix just burst.
It felt like it for a second. I was like, oh no, that's liver failure or something right there. Holy fuck.
Liver failure. Sophie said no, but only because I'm quite protective when it comes to her exploring dating, and she knew she'd have to ask me first. I could tell she was flattered and intrigued by his interest and wanted to say yes. She approached me to talk to me about it. Bless my girl. She did everything right. I think she expected I would see things her way and agree that she could date Tom. Much to her surprise, I firmly said no. That caused a bit of conflict.
Because mommy's keeping secrets.
Yeah. She didn't even want to date him that badly. She just couldn't understand why she wasn't allowed to, and I couldn't explain it to her. All I could come up with was, he's too old for you, which he is, but it's not really about that. When Amy and Luke heard, I was very curious to see what their reactions would be. If either of them had agreed with Sophie and tried to convince me that the two of them should be allowed to date, I think I would have been relieved and taken that as proof that I was wrong about something going on between them. Do we think that they're going to say that she's wrong?
That she's wrong about them being related?
No, that she's wrong about her that Sophie not being able to date Tom. What do we think?
Do you think they do it anyway?
I don't know.
I think they do it anyway, because once mom says no, then it's just like, okay, now I'm going.
No. But like Luke and Amy, do you think they're going to come back and be like, why didn't you let her date Tom?
Oh, I understand. Yeah. Oh, shit. Oh.
I haven't read on, but do you think that's going to happen? Because her words are sounding like it's going to not.
They won't have a problem with her saying no.
And then it's going to go down in the DMs.
Because if either of them said no, then that would also be suspicious.
Yeah. That's what she's saying.
Okay, now I get it.
She's saying, I think I would have been relieved and taken that as proof that I was wrong about something going on between them. Relieved.
Yeah.
She would have been. So those words right there are already foreshadowing me to be like, they are going to agree with her. Great. Oh, fuck. I just read the next sentence. Wrong about who fathered Amy's children, but the ambiguity continued. I can't talk today. I'm sorry. They took my side.
Oh.
Both of them put their foot down, though not as fiercely as I did. Luke agreed with me, but he also worried that trying to forbid such a romance would only make Sophie want it more. He was probably right about that. Amy seemed more... is it sympathetic? No, that's not trying to come out of my mouth. Amy seemed more apathetic. What does that mean?
Like not caring.
Okay. To the idea. She didn't want Tom to date Sophie either, and she backed me up. But I didn't know. She just wasn't taking it as seriously. Wait, back up. I'm gonna reread that because that was the wrong word. She didn't want Tom to date Sophie either, and she backed me up. But I don't know, she just wasn't taking it as seriously. She seemed to think it was a fleeting crush. Here it is. Well, it wasn't. In the months following those conversations, Tom would spend more and more time with Sophie. They would be alone or with other friends anytime they possibly could. It's because abundantly clear, yeah, that's what she put. It's become abundantly clear that Tom is crazy about Sophie and wants to be with her. And he definitely wants to be physical, which I'm watching them like a hawk and noticed his eyes wandering many times. And while I'm doing everything I can to kill this budding romance in the crib, okay, sorry, that was just a weird sentence, I also am feeling somewhat powerless. Sophie hasn't outwardly defied me. She's still hanging out with Tom as friends, so forcing them to stop spending time together would be unreasonable and probably encourage more sneaking around. But I also am afraid that they're already doing that. My nightmare is that they're secretly dating and doing God knows what when no one is looking. I've observed Tom being rather handsy with Sophie, and she presents no
no objection whatsoever. And I just don't know what to say. I had considered trying to convince Sophie that Tom is like her brother, but if she doesn't see him that way, I don't really have the power to rewrite their emotional dynamic or the history of their friendship. I always saw Amy and her children as like being family, but my kids might see Amy's kids as best friends, which is true, but that's always something that you have to run into, right?
Yeah.
That's why people are always careful bringing their kids, like having them grow up together, because you've already got that dynamic, you've already got that relationship, that foundation.
Yeah.
And then you go into high school and that's when like the hormones start settling in and like all of the other shit that goes on in your brain that everyone else who has a degree in it will know about, right? Oy. The problem is, of course, that if my husband was indeed carrying on an affair over the years and I'm right about the paternity of Amy's children, then Tom and Sophie cannot be anything more than friends under my circumstances. End of discussion. Because then we're getting into Game of Thrones territory.
You're gonna have a kid come out all crooked.
It can never happen. I feel powerless to stop it though. Luke has apparently talked to Tom about this, as has Amy, but he is unrelenting and he won't give up on Sophie. I think she enjoys the attention and devotion. Tom has also confronted me and asked why I'm so against this when I know him very well and I know he would be good to Sophie. I didn't know what to say other than to fall back on her being too young for him, but that wouldn't work forever. It doesn't. If, God forbid, they're still attracted to each other in a few years, then they'll pursue this and abandon. If God forbid they're still attracted to each other in a few years, then they'll pursue this with abandon. And once they're legal adults, there's nothing I can do about it. Okay, just a few more. God, I want to know what happens.
Right.
Amy and Luke agree with me that Tom cannot date Sophie, but that's all they've really done. They feel just as powerless as me to prevent teen love. It genuinely feels sometimes like they've just given up and will bury their heads in the sand about this. Just do nothing and hope the feelings pass as Tom and Sophie get older, which is not always true. They're in high school. It's unlikely Tom will be in love with Sophie forever, but my fear is that she'll let him do something intimate with her before the time comes. Something neither of them can take back. True. I am this close to opening a door I cannot close. This close to screaming at Luke that all this wouldn't be happening if he hadn't cheated on me all those years ago. If he hadn't been all but raising a second family with his surrogate sister behind my back. Now Luke's son wants to fuck our daughter, his actual sister, because as far as he knows, she's just his childhood friend, and that's all Luke and Amy's fault for what they've done. Sorry, I got really close to the speaker. If I speak up, everything gets blown to hell. On the off chance that I'm wrong, I'm a horrible monster who accused the love of my life and one of my closest friends of doing something horrible. If I'm right, it still tears. If I'm right, it still tears our entire structure apart. The family and social unit we've become over the last several years is gone, and everyone will be stressed and upset, even if Luke and I don't divorce. If I do nothing, Sophie's eventually going to sleep with Tom and be his girlfriend, and I'm low-key terrified it will happen sooner than later, or worse, that it's already happened under our nose. I hope to hell this relationship fades as they mature, but what if it doesn't? What if they wind up being together for years? What if they marry, want to get pregnant someday? And if I tell Sophie the truth about Amy's kids, then everyone else will find out too. And that's going to ruin so many lives. It would shatter my kids' perception of their father and their Aunt Amy. Luke is Owen's hero. I don't even want to think about how much this would hurt him. And what about Amy's children? They're innocent. They didn't ask for this. They don't control where they come from, and I don't want to hurt them. Admittedly, I'm not happy with Tom at the moment. A week ago, I saw him put his hands on Sophie's butt, and I wanted to knock his teeth out, but even he doesn't deserve to be burdened by the knowledge that it's his half-sister he's been fantasizing about. Oh God, it's also funny, fucked up, like, and I don't know what to do. What?
I shouldn't be laughing, but it's just so fun.
It sucks because like
it's so fucking weird.
Right? I've been looking the other way and letting my husband and his best friend insult me for such a long time now. I thought I could live with it, but this business with Tom and Sophie has me distressed.
Someone commented, wow, 23andMe for Christmas, maybe a guitar too. Banjo, maybe a banjo too.
See, I called it. Everybody's like, you could solve this with a DNA test from Walgreens, my man. Like, you gotta figure it out.
Someone says, is your relationship with Luke really good? Because it needs to be for this. You gotta have the time where you and Luke can discuss this and literally start with how you understand it's going to create immediate tension and say you can't help but suspect something. I would have done this a long time ago though, especially after the vasectomy and she never got pregnant again. I'd be like, okay, look.
We gotta figure.
Yeah, because this is A plus B is not equaling C squared. Like, no. I know, that's why I said A plus B does not equal C squared. Do you get it now? Because A plus B does not equal the square root of C.
Are we recording?
We have been.
Always say that. Always ask it.
I'm always watching.
Oh, you're supposed to say it. Always say it.
I always say it. Wait, what?
When I say, are we recording?
Yes.
I always ask that.
You do always ask that.
And you are supposed to say it, and I always say it.
And I always say it.
There we go. We finally got it on track. God. Welcome back, 2.9ers. Welcome to another Reddit review. Gotta stop doing that. And now we're gonna get all the rest of the juicy details from earlier story of, I think my husband fathered his best friend's children, and now one of them is attracted to my daughter. Let's get it, because my producer is gonna kill me in 2 seconds. I think my husband fathered his best friend's children, and now one of them is attracted to my daughter. Update part 1, because there are 6 of these.
Because there are 6 of these.
There's 6 updates, which I don't know how many I'm going to post, but it's definitely going to take us through the rest of November. So buckle up for a ride that has been very fucking juicy because, well, someone fucked up. Reddit won't let me post a link, so I have to find the original post on my account. Sorry for the inconvenience. I could summarize the original, blah, 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 blah.
Blah, blah, blah.
Okay, here we go. So here it goes. First of all, wow, I did not expect my post to get as much traction as it did. I was half worried that someone in my family or social circle might find it, especially when someone alerted me that the post had been shared to Facebook. But as far as I can tell, no one in my family has seen it. I want to think, well, that's the thing is like, even if you have seen it, I don't think people will be like, oh, this is about me. You know? Does that make sense?
Yeah.
Anyways, I want to thank all of the kind commenters who wished me well. To those who were more frustrated with my indecision, I get it, but I was operating with an uncertain situation and the stakes were incredibly high. I feel like no matter what my choice, something could have likely gone wrong. I've spent the last 5 years imagining different scenarios based on different ways I could go about this, about this if I ever decided to act on it. To everyone who was clamoring for an update, I have one for you. I'm fucking clamoring. I'm clamoring, and I'm popping out pearls. Let's go.
Fuck are you on?
We haven't flowered here.
Popping pearls? Like, what the fuck?
I forgot that we filmed this. Like, that we already filmed it. And then now I'm like, oh my God, I remember this juicy, detailed story. And I'm here for it. And I'm ready for this. Claiming it up. Get me some Benadryl because I'm allergic to shellfish.
It's been a rough couple of weeks, y'all.
I'm the one making the smart comments and quips, and he's back there trying to survive the apocalypse.
I'm hanging on for dear life.
Yep, he's making snow cones. I previously said that I was going to do a secret DNA test, that I have decided on that action. What? Okay, I'm gonna reread this because that was weird. I previously said that I was going to do a secret DNA test, that I have decided on that course of action. In the end, I couldn't go through with it, and now I'm regretting that, because the window to do so was essentially closed. Would you have done a DNA test?
Me personally? 1000%.
Oh yeah, for sure. Go get a hairbrush.
Sure.
Let me just pull those suckers. Merry fucking Christmas.
Yeah. No,
Chrysler.
if like that's, yeah.
Yep.
Get a DNA test.
I just felt like it would be out of line for me to do that to another person's child behind their back. Ethically, it was dicey. Not really. I was consulted with my words. I've since consulted with my lawyer, as many commenters suggested, and she advised me against doing so because no matter what the results were, it would make me look bad in a potential divorce proceeding. How would that make you look bad, though?
I don't fucking know. Maybe she wants her to do DNA tests after she files for divorce. I don't fucking know.
Or maybe I don't see how that would make you look bad because you're not. Anyways, I'm just
I dropped out of law school in '86, so I don't know, man.
Yeah, we're just gonna hold the comments for now, put a pin in it. But I really wish I had done it anyways and just not told anyone because I really badly need to know. And I still don't know for sure. Likewise, I wanted to tell Sophie in confidence, but the more I thought about it, even that seemed over the line. Like I had no right to plant such ideas in her head about her father without even talking to him first. So what I ended up doing was confronting Luke and Amy. There you go. Confrontation. Yes, let's go. Many commenters suggested this as well. I finally told both of them what we needed to have. I finally told both of them that we needed to have a serious talk. It felt counterproductive to approach just one of them because I figured they would tell the other about what happened in their own words before I could prepare my own. I wanted them both to hear what I had to say. Once all the kids were at school, I laid down all my suspicions and the reasons. I made it clear how much I loved both of them, but a combination of clues had led me to notice the similarities between Luke and Amy's children, and I didn't even list all of them in the original post. For example, Luke has been a sleepwalker in the past, so have Sophie, Tom, and Adam. Is that common? Or is that genetic?
I don't know if it's genetic, but I think it's kind of rare. Like actual sleepwalking, I think is kind of rare. I'm not entirely sure though.
I used to sleepwalk, but only whenever I was like highly stressed. I definitely sleep talk. I've woken up and my arm from a dream and my arm has like been extended because I'm giving someone cash. I'm like, here's your change. And I wake up and my arm's just right there.
You lead an exciting life.
Yeah. I said over and over how much they meant to me and how I didn't want to believe it, but the thought had crept into my mind in the past. How I had dismissed it before, but now, with Tom and Sophie having crushes on each other, it became necessary to pose the question. So I asked if they had ever crossed the line, if Luke had ever been unfaithful, if there was even the slightest possibility that any of Amy's children were his. I was just trying not to cry. Well, they reacted exactly as I would have expected. Their responses were perfect and so well rehearsed. I genuinely can't tell if it was honest emotion or powerful gaslighting. Amy was more upset than Luke, or at least more outwardly upset. She was angry, offended at the accusation. Luke just seemed heartbroken by it. If I was Amy, I would be laughing my ass off. If, let's say, like, all of this is just, some conspiracy theory that she, like, cooked up in her head, right?
Yeah.
If I heard this from my best friend saying all of this stuff and, like, for her to be like, here's what I'm assuming, here's the evidence, I'd be like, you know what? That's great evidence. And I love that you're speaking off factual base. Like this opposed a question, right? And I would be laughing if it was false.
Yeah.
Why would you be angry about that? I don't know. Maybe I'm just a different breed of people.
I mean, to be accused of something like that is like I'd feel pretty shitty.
Well, for Luke, yeah, for sure. But as for the best friend who's not even involved in their marriage like that, I'd be like, that's a conversation for y'all. Peace out.
True. Yeah.
Like, I'd just be like, well, apparently.
I don't know, man. The further we go in this story, I just keep picking up stronger and stronger trailer park vibes.
Trailer park? Like family trailer park? Like Game of Thrones?
Trailer park.
Yeah, I know. What? Maybe I don't know.
Like these are just a bunch of hillbillies fucking each other. I don't know.
Okay, so that's what I was thinking of too. Okay. Luke just seemed heartbroken by it. Maybe they were just acting, I don't know. Somehow they had reasonable responses to all of the points I brought up. They asked questions I didn't know how to answer and had never objected to them having alone time before. Why did it suddenly bother me now? Do Amy's children really resemble Luke that much? Or are things like hair, color, pretty basic traits to have in common? They have blue eyes. It's actually a recessive trait that you get from the men in the family, if you don't remember science class.
I mean, it sounds like this lady all of her kids are by different men, right?
She's never had, little recap, Amy has never had a serious relationship or brought any man over, and she has multiple children, and she's always pregnant before or after this lady, the wife's pregnancies.
Okay, gotcha.
Do you remember that now?
Yes.
Okay. They're all like sporadically the same age.
Yeah.
pretty much.
Okay, no.
Like a year or two apart.
Okay.
Okay. The whole family has always treated Amy and her kids as part of our unit, and I had previously condemned Luke for stepping up and being condemned. That's not the right word. I had previously commended Luke for stepping up and being a father to Amy's kids since they didn't have one. So like apparently the fathers are just not in Amy's life, and she's never talked about marriage or anything like that. Do you remember?
Yeah.
Stories?
Yeah, no, that's, and I still think it's.
Yeah. Why was I now saying it was a bad thing? What exactly did I want them to do? How could I think such a thing about them? Why had I waited so long to say something? I don't like the whole gaslighting of how could I think such a thing about them. I mean, if you logically look at it, them spending time together all the time, you could logically see it.
Yeah. You can draw some conclusions. Like honestly, lady, just run the DNA tests.
Yeah, exactly. So if you have nothing to hide, take the fucking DNA test. Luke was more understanding than Amy. Of course he was. He respected my feelings, or at least he acted like he did. Amy appeared to feel more betrayed by what I said. I ended up apologizing several times, even though I'm not sure I did anything wrong. You didn't. That's called gaslighting. It's manipulation, narcissism. Luke also apologized for anything he'd done. How do we think about that?
If you didn't,
He apologizes for anything he'd done to indicate he was unfaithful.
I don't know, man.
I asked Amy more pointedly that if not Luke, who had fathered her children? She snapped back that it was none of my business. And I could tell she was in no mood to get personal or vulnerable with me after my accusations. If someone is shutting down that fast.
Yeah, no, it seems fishy.
Yeah, we're smelling a little sushi up in here. I'm not proud to say that I lost my temper and said that after everything we had done for her and her children, such information was not a lot to ask, and perhaps she owed it to us. I regretted the words as soon as I said them, but Amy shouted back that I had never done anything for her, and that it was Luke and his parents who had kept her afloat all these years, not me. She went on a longer tirade, right? A longer tirade about how I had always acted superior to her, which I don't believe I did, though it's possible that I gave off that vibe unintentionally. Luke did his best to calm her down, but the room was still fraught with tension. This is so much manipulation right here. For Amy to sit there and be like, you've always acted like a superior, blah, 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 that you're better than her.
I don't know, like
that's insecurity right there. That's
kind
not
of
her, that's insecurity.
At the base of it, like no matter what, even if there was no infidelity, like this lady.
She has allowed to have Amy in her life, in her husband's life, and they spend more time with each other than Amy and her do.
Yeah. No, and like that's the thing is like, so you just openly admitted to being a shit person. Like, oh, well, it's been Luke and his family keeping me afloat. Why do you have 4 kids if you've been relying on someone who is not your husband and not your family for that, and you still haven't gotten your shit together, but you keep pumping out kids?
Exactly.
Baseline, you're a piece of shit. So I don't trust this lady for a fucking half a second.
Oh, hell no. Let me tell you, whenever, from personal experience, this is how I can like draw a parallelogram to these. Whenever there's like one situation that keeps sticking out is like me and one of my best friends, we liked the same person, but she kept hiding the fact that she was like spending time with him. And then whenever he would like go all weird on me, she wouldn't tell me why. And then I found out from Instagram that she was with him. And then even more to the story, right? So of course I was pissed, but I called her out because she's supposed to be one of my best friends. And I was like, why didn't you just talk to me? And she was like, I'm so sorry. I just didn't know how you were going to react. I'm like, I'm your best friend. It doesn't matter. There's no boy coming in between this. Like, this is how that situation feels like. Like,
yeah.
I've had friends be so reactive to me, and now they're exes, because I'm like, all I'm doing is trying to have a conversation with you. There shouldn't be some reactiveness because we both care about each other and we both love each other. Like, have concerns we're trying to talk through, and then you're not doing that.
Yeah.
That's because you are in the wrong and you just don't want to fucking man up and
guilty conscience coming through.
Mm-hmm. I don't know, Reddit. I just don't know, but you do. It's driving me to the edge of madness. There's a way to be certain, of course, not certain of my husband's fidelity, but of the paternity of Amy's children. So I asked Luke, for my own peace of mind, for the sake of our daughter and for our family unit, if he could please get a DNA test done. a paternity test. I went on to say that I knew he disliked and distrusted such things, but that I really needed this. I could see the pain in Luke's eyes. Maybe it was an act, but he did seem genuinely hurt that I was asking for this. I mean, fair enough. If he didn't do it,
Yeah.
like, I could see that, and y'all would have to definitely go through therapy to, like, build that trust up again. But, like, if you give me the facts and they all make sense, I'd be like, well, shit, did I? I'd be questioning myself.
Oh, man.
But he did seem genuinely hurt that I was asking for this, that him giving me his word that he had always been faithful was not enough for me. But he very reluctantly agreed to participate in a DNA test. Unfortunately, Amy did not, and that's where we hit a roadblock. I was afraid of this, but Amy was infuriated at the whole concept and told me in no uncertain terms that I would not be getting samples of her children's DNA and basically told me to fuck off for asking. Several times in several variations. I pressed Luke, and honestly, he was a bit useless and probably right. He tried to convince Amy, but she wouldn't hear of it, and he kind of shrugged to me when I pushed him for the further support. That's what I think about
All I
that.
could hear was dog mouth noises and perfect.
That's what we think about that. Because he can't force her to get the test done. If she refuses, that's really the dead end. Trust me, it is. I looked into this quite a bit and consulted with my lawyer. Problem is, Luke could, in theory, petition the court to demand a paternity test for Tom and the others. The issue is that to do this, he'd essentially be claiming he slept with Amy and he believes her children to be his. That would be the version of events he'd be maintaining. But Luke has, I don't know this word, Staunchly.
Staunchly,
Okay.
steadfastly, stalwartly.
Got it. But Luke has staunchly insisted that nothing ever happened with Amy, that he never cheated on me. Whether or not he's being honest about this is another story. But he'd essentially have to go on record and make a claim that he isn't prepared to make. True. He is quite certain the children aren't his, and he has no intention of fighting for custody of them. So no judge is going to compel Amy to submit samples of her children's DNA. Use the children.
Right.
Tom is also old enough that his consent would be a factor. If both he and Amy refuse to participate in the test, it's unlikely that Luke would have a case. He'd have to target one of Amy's younger children, like, say, one of the twins, but he doesn't want to do that. He doesn't want to take his best friend to court to prove something that, in his words, he already knows isn't true. Luke is asking me to just please let this go and trust him, because pursuing this will fracture everything. And according to my lawyer, it's not realistic anymore. For Luke to establish paternity, he would need to admit to an affair in the first place, and he's not doing that. And if he did, that would pretty much be all the proof I needed to be certain, even if I need more in a court case. I pestered him further about Tom and Sophie. Wait, I was going back through because Tom was mentioned like 4 sentences ago for using the kids, and I was thinking Tom was the husband for a little bit, so I got real confused.
Give me one hot second.
I'm so glad my brain hiccuped. I pestered him further about Tom and Sophie, insisted that I didn't want them dating. Luke agreed, and apparently Amy still agrees. Luke plans to have a talk with Tom and Luke plans to have a Tom talk. Talking Tom, that was the cat one. Do you remember that? The cat? Okay, anyways. Luke plans to have a talk with Tom and activate proactive Papa Bear mode.
I don't think that was necessary.
I don't think so either. That's why my brain was like, what is going on? Among other things, he's going to remind Tom that in a couple of months when he turns 18, him being intimate with Sophie will literally be a crime. Not fucking true, depending on what state you are in.
Maybe not the thing to advocate for.
I'm just letting you know that...
I understand what you're getting at.
What is it? The Romeo and Juliet law?
Yeah, it's like if you were dating when you were 17 and 16 and then the 17-year-old turns 18, it's not... There's...
Yeah.
Yes. Yeah.
Yeah. And I think they're both 17, right? Anyways, I wouldn't actually press charges against him, as I know he'd never do anything against Sophie's will, but I'm not above implying the threat. Thankfully, Luke isn't either. I did ask him if he'd be open to potentially swapping a sample of Tom's DNA. Swiping. A sample of Tom's DNA to do a private paternity test, but he was very hesitant about the idea. Like me, he viewed it as unethical. He also pointed out that if we were to do this and Amy found out, it would mean the end of our friendship with her, most likely. Things are, Luke believes, still in a salvageable state, where Amy and I could reconcile, nope, and become friends again. And I can see how much he wants this to happen. First off, it doesn't sound like Amy is going to even apologize for what she said, nor back down on her subject. Like, that's fine, you can have your beliefs, Amy, and like whatever you want to do. Yeah, but also Luke is pretty much saying that his wife needs to reconcile their differences and back down on what she's saying.
Right, like the whole...
That's not okay. Okay, so like, would you tell Sarah to do that?
No.
Thank
I
you.
mean, point blank period, like, if the other lady wants to settle all this, she can with a DNA test.
Exactly.
So
I don't know why she got Amy.
I mean, I understand being offended, but like after
But if you're
calming
saying
down for a
no,
while and then being like, okay, yeah, I get it. If you're really not hiding anything and you really want to tell a person to fuck off, like here's the DNA, fuckhead. Go see that it's not the same.
exactly. And then you can have your reconciled differences or whatever the fuck. But Amy is literally saying no because of why.
They've been fucking.
But if I did a DNA test on Tom behind Amy's back and she found out, I think she would hit the roof and I wouldn't entirely blame her. So I'd be very interested to see the results. Luke ended up going to see Amy and spending the night again. I know all of you are cringing and throwing up in your hands, and trust me, I wasn't happy about it. Why would your husband just do that after everything?
He spent the night at this chick's house?
Again.
Hey, I think you're fucking this lady. I think these are all your kids. They're not, but I'm gonna go stay the night at her house. What?
You can reconcile your differences and I'll still be friends with her.
You can reconcile these fucking nuts, dude. Like, I'm like, no,
Amy is reconciling those nuts. That was a very long conversation, but he was adamant that he needed to perform damage control.
perform. Good.
Yeah, I bet.
Whose benefit, man? Like, you are spending nights away from your wife and your own children with another woman, like that. No part of that is at all. Oh, we're cool, man. I have some really good friends. You know what I don't do? Take care of their kids and spend the night at their house.
Is now on the table between the three of them, and then after after the wife is like, hey, I don't like the situation. I think you're cheating on me. And Luke is like, oh, just believe me. And she's like, I don't know. I'm not believing you right now.
No.
Oh, it's okay. Let me like show you the truth and let me go spend the night at her house so that I can reconcile you and do damage control for you.
Right? Like the whole...
I think the only flowers you need to be watering are your wife's, sir.
I was a little bit up in the air, like maybe she's just crazy making all this stuff up.
Maybe.
Like,
and then she said that he went to go spend the night with them.
I'm sorry. Yeah, after that accusation, like, brother. No.
Dude, I would have been like, file the divorce.
Right? I'm changing the locks on the trailer. You stay the fuck out.
Exactly. The thing, oh my God, I could not imagine my husband doing that. If he did, I'd be like, you're gone. Like, you walk out that door after having this entire argument and like conversation about this, and you go spend the night at someone who I don't even like anymore, we're done.
Well, and
then that just proves to me right there that you're already lying to my face.
In no world is if I were to go over to your house tonight and spend the night for whatever, we're working. We got to work. It's weird.
Yeah.
It's fucking weird.
Yep.
No matter the context, it doesn't matter. It's fucking weird.
I'd say put something in his little overnight bag, like a audio device, and just keep recording. Yep. And you can listen to the conversation or anything else that happens. Yep, exactly. So they spent the night together, with Luke maintaining that nothing happened. I did not sleep a wink and kept texting him for updates. Bitch, I would literally be driving to the house.
Right.
I would be stalking him.
Serious motherfucker.
No. Camcorder in everything. I did not sleep a wink and kept texting him for updates. So far, as I can tell, Amy will cool off, but she needs a little time. Oh, I bet she did cool off real well. Luke and I talked things over when he came back the next morning. It was an emotionally fulfilling conversation, and we ended up agreeing to take the kids. Fucking smell him. Check his shirt. Smell the fucker. Smell him.
No, that doesn't count either, because like they share a bed because they're friends. Okay, they sleep in the same bed.
Excuse me?
I'm being an asshole.
I was about to say, oh, hell no.
I didn't read ahead. No, but like this kind of behavior, like I would not be surprised if that was a thing that
I would not be sharing. No. Mm-mm. Nope. Mm-mm.
I'm telling you, like it's probably a thing.
And we ended up agreeing to take the kids, our kids, not Amy's, to visit their grandparents for a few days. It was an impromptu visit, but we've done it before and they were delighted to have us. I just really wanted our family to spend some time together away from Amy's side of the family, so to speak. I always love getting to see my in-laws. I'll refer them to Jim and Kat. I know Reddit is famous for the stories about the mother-in-law from hell, but in my life that couldn't be farther from the truth. I feel safe with them to the point that when they took notice of how distant Luke and I were from each other, I finally relented and confessed my fears. I told them of my anxiety, that Luke and Amy were having an affair, and that Amy's children might be his. Here's where things got a little bit interesting.
Okay, wait, because Luke and Amy have been friends since like childhood was the thing?
Dun, dun, dun. Jesus freaking Christ. This is going to be a long one, so buckle it up. Actually, we're going to end it here. Oh my God. Come back next week whenever we find out what fucking interesting things got juicy again. Got juicy fruit, got gushers, got pops like a right tomato.
This whole goddamn video.
Yeah, so it's getting a little spicy here.
Mom and Dad are involved.
Mom and Dad are now involved. Grandma and Grandpa.
That's right. Grandma and Grandpa are here.
Grammy and Gramps, who know the childhood best friends.
I need my noise break. Hold on.
Ew, what? Stop.
My nose is squeaking too, so.
I'm good. I don't like ASMR. We have established that in Purries and Furries Part 2. Welcome back, 2.9ers, to another Reddit story because we're in the middle of a juicy lemon screwsy gushers. Lemon gusheries story about how... What's the title again? I think my husband fathered my best friend's children, his best friend's children, and now one of them is attracted to her daughter. Let's get started. Here's where things got a little bit interesting. And before I keep going on, remember, we're already 4 episodes deep. Yeah. Okay.
This is a rabbit hole.
This is a rabbit hole that we're going down.
I was trying to say clever words, but my brain completely made
it's
shit.
Okay. You're totally fine. This is going to get interesting. And if you haven't seen it already, go back and watch the videos before we keep reading. I'll give you a second. Okay. Here's where things got a little bit interesting. When I told them what I was feeling, Kat, remember, that's the grandma. Jim is the grandpa. Kat just gave Jim a pointed look and did a big dramatic sigh. Sorry, the race cars just wanted to turn on for a little bit. You ready?
Yeah.
So it turns out Kat has had similar misgivings to mine and genuinely suspected over the years that Luke and Amy were closer than they'd ever admit, that they had crossed the line in the past. Jim, on the other hand, simply refuses to even consider the idea. He has always insisted that Kat is seeing things that aren't there. He maintains that Luke and Amy are like siblings and would never do such a thing. I promise you there's quotation. Kat thinks his stance on this is naive and that even if she and Jim had taken Amy in and loved her like a daughter, that didn't mean Luke viewed her as a sister or that she viewed him as a brother. Let me just pause there and reiterate the fact that women have this high intuition of just knowing shit. So if two people, the grandmother and the wife, are being like, okay, there's something missing, here's the dots, here's the clues, and both of the men in the family are like, I don't know, but let me go sleep at Amy's house.
I already forgot about that. This huge blowout, life-ruining fight, and then he went and stayed at another woman's house.
Say the woman that is the blowout fight.
Yeah.
Yep,
Bonkers.
these balloons need to be popped.
Absolutely fucking nuts.
It's getting a little bit toasty in here because of all the spiciness in this drama.
Oh no.
And action. I was going to say scene, but never mind. But Jim just continued to insist that this was what they are and always had been. I could tell that he and Kat have already had this conversation before and they kept going in circles, with Kat getting exasperated. She pointed out that surrogate siblings are not Luke and Amy. Wait, what? I think that's supposed to be or not. Luke and Amy were not actually brother and sister, so nothing was stopping them from being physical together if they felt a mutual attraction. At that point, Jim just sighed and walked away from the conversation. So yes, Kat has privately wondered if Amy's children weren't fathered by Luke. Luke, I am your
Mom's ratting you out too, bud.
which is part of why she has always treated them as her grandchildren, which was never something that I minded, to be clear. I also don't mind that Kat never voiced these concerns to me. She had no proof, and she saw far less of Luke and Amy's closeness in our adult lives than I did. As for the kids, they're doing all right. I don't know what Amy told her children, but I think the general consensus, the official version of events is that Amy and I had a fight and needed a break from each other. There's a lot of rabbit ears.
Right.
Rabbit hole, rabbit ear, yikes, from each other. That's what Luke and I told our children, and when pressed for more information, Luke did defend me and shut down the questions, saying it wasn't their business. I don't know if Amy kept to that version of events, but my children and her children have each other's phone numbers and social media, so they've presumably still been in contact over the last 2 days. I think my kids would have kept Amy's kids in the loop on the updates, and if Amy has told them anything else significant, they would have relayed that information to my kids. After all, we know Sophie and Tom are very close. I did try to talk to Sophie about that more, but the timing was off because Sophie rejected my counsel and interrupted my reinforced reluctance as being attributed to my fight with Amy. Oh, I love teenage daughters. She maintained that she wasn't dating Tom. To what degree that's actually true, I don't know. But she was going to remain close friends with him, and while she isn't usually a disobedient child, she made it very clear that she was putting her foot down on this one. And to be fair, I can't really justify trying to separate them or forbid them from being friends. They've known each other for years. Luke has my back on them not being allowed to date, but he wouldn't have my back on them not hanging out anymore. Another reason.
Sounds like a similar situation.
Yep. A little bit sus right there. I wish I had more definitive updates. If anything significant happens in the next few days, I can let you guys know. I'm mostly just kicking myself for not having done the secret test. Even for my own peace of mind, I would have done it. As now, I feel like I'm locked out of the only way to get definitive proof one way or the other. Nope. Use the kids. Update number 2. Okay, so as reiterated, there are a lot of updates to this. I didn't expect to have another quick update. After posting my first update, I did a lot of thinking about my kids. I ultimately decided that whatever else happened, I needed to warn Sophie about the situation and do so immediately. Finally! To hell with Luke and whatever that meant for him. To hell if that meant all of the kids learned of the situation. She needed to be aware of what she might be getting herself into. So, I discreetly kept her out of school. We went back home to our home. Okay? Last night... This morning, I dropped everyone off and saved Sophie for last before driving right past her school and telling her that we needed to talk. Always a frightening thing for a teenager to hear from a parent, but I was quick to establish that she was not in trouble, but she needed to know the truth about why Amy and I were fighting, why her dating Tom was out of the question. I very gently explained that because of Luke's closeness to Amy and Tom's resemblance to him, I had come to suspect that perhaps Luke and Amy were intimate at some point over the years. If that was true, and there was any chance Tom's father was actually Luke, that would be a significant problem. Game of Thrones up in this bitch.
Really though, dude? Holy fuck.
Sophie was quiet during all of this, and even after I had stopped talking to let her respond, she paused for quite a while before she finally said that we needed to get Tom and discuss this with him as well. I had no objections, so she texted him to meet us. They're both skipping school today, but Sophie gets straight A's, and this is extremely important. So I looked the other way.
Killing it.
Thank you. Tom came to meet us, and Sophie had me relay what I told her to him as well. I apologized to him for any indication I might have given that I didn't think he was good enough for my daughter, and to both of them for not telling the truth sooner. Shit.
Bonkers.
Tom and Sophie just gave each other this oddly knowing stare. And Reddit, that's when they blew my mind. Sophie spoke first, with Tom backing her up. They revealed to me that in fact they had already known about Luke and Amy. Or at least they had strongly suspected. Oh my god. Apparently Tom has overheard conversations that are questionable. As well as overhearing the sounds of sex from Amy's room.
Oh, no.
Sounds he would just as soon forget, but all signs point to Amy's lover having been Luke. Tom had wondered for a very long time, and back in January, he finally voiced his fears to Sophie. She agreed with them. She could also see a strange sort of closeness between her father and his mother. They agreed that Luke was likely having an affair. They agreed that because of Kaylee's allergy, Luke might very well be her father, and if Kaylee was Luke's daughter, the rest of Tom's siblings could be Luke's as well.
Bro, these kids be watching you, okay?
Dude, how? Just...
What the fuck?
Why do you think you can get away with this shit?
I mean, he did for like a long time. 18 years, it sounds like.
Because the kids are always so scared to like rat out a parent.
Yes. Also,
Tom
like,
could be Luke's... Sorry, what?
Like parents, I feel like he's just assuming the kid, like, it's normal for him to be around so they wouldn't, like, question it. I don't know.
Maybe they think that everyone knows, that all the parents are fine with it.
Oh man. Because those kind of people exist, but like...
We're getting there. We're getting there. Tom could be Luke's kid himself. The math led them to the same places as me. Hello, women have this great intuition.
I'm so wrapped up and stressed right now, I have not been switching cameras. I've literally just been sitting here like, no, word?
It's okay. I can do it in editing. So Sophie and Tom came up with a little plan. As it turns out, they're not in love. Thank the fucking lords. They never were. They're still just best friends, but they had the same instinct as me, that they didn't want to blow up our entire family and social unit without more, my brain wants to say discrete evidence, but it's direct. I don't know why I can't say that. Without more direct evidence, which Tom has been working on acquiring. Good fucking job, Tom.
So I bet you Tom would be down for a DNA test.
Oh yeah, for sure. And though Sophie very badly wanted to tell me the truth, she was hesitant because she knew it would shatter me. Dude, that's what I'm saying. Ratting out parents. Yeah. She had no idea I was already suffering in silence. This is why open communication is the best form possible.
Right.
Sophie apologized for not voicing her suspicions sooner. Honestly, we both cried, and I made sure she understood that none of this was her fault and that I loved her very much. So the bottom line is, Sophie and Tom already knew they could be half-siblings and are actually interested in being a couple. That's great. That was their idea for how to rock the boat. Makes sense. Makes fucking sense. To force Luke and Amy to do something about the situation rather than keep making a fool out of me.
That's bonkers.
Luke, really hope you get pushed back of a bridge. I also think it was Tom/Sophie's way of punishing them for their affair. Teenagers can be vindictive. Yes, they can. I can tell you so many stories of what I did to my father and his girlfriends, his mini girlfriends. So they concocted this idea that they wanted to date. Even flirtation, I've witnessed every inappropriate touch, all staged, apparently, and for the benefit of Luke, Amy, or both. This was supposed to make them sweet. Nope, that's not the word. This was supposed to make them sweat, and Sophie/Tom expected they would jump out of their seats to forbid it from happening, when I was the one who did instead. That kind of threw the kids for a loop. They couldn't understand why I cared more than the actual cheaters. They began to suspect that maybe I knew. Tom confronting me that one time about why I can't date Sophie was him trying to gauge if I knew or not. Maybe I shouldn't be surprised. Sophie and Tom have always been close friends and confided in each other. Maybe I should be Maybe I should be a little more concerned at how sneaky they've been, but honestly, I'm just so relieved they're not dating. Sure, they could be lying to throw off the scent, I guess, but they apparently already knew that they're likely related. They didn't blink at all when I told them. God.
That's fucking crazy.
I mean, it's the same situation whenever the grandparents were like, yeah.
Everybody knew.
Everyone fucking knew.
Open secret.
Even Reddit. We even had a bit of a laugh together when Tom mentioned how he had been a little offended that I was so against him dating my daughter before. I kind of jokingly asked him, so you don't think she's gorgeous? And Tom, bless his heart, shrugged it off. She is, but so is my English teacher, and I'm not asking her out either. Either way, the question now is where to go from here. It's called call your lawyer.
I was just gonna
get on the phone. We have to figure that out. No, you know what you should do? Stage it.
Catch them making out or something. No.
Catch them.
Tell them the daughter's pregnant.
Tell them that they've been secretly dating and she's, oh my gosh.
And she's like 3 months pregnant.
Yep, there you go.
That would be perfect.
We have to figure that out. I will say that it is such a relief to have told Sophie, and I feel like an elephant has taken one of its feet off my chest. Having her in my corner and Tom in my corner as well means a lot to me, even though I basically just got it absolutely confirmed that Luke is sleeping with Amy. This is why I said they're cheating, because he automatically went over to the fucking best friend's house and Amy was so pissed about everything and refused to do the paternity test.
Yeah. Well, see, like I definitely understood, like, and I was, benefit of the doubt, so like it could have all been coincidence, but now you have like
there is
grandma,
no way
and grandpa
that
saying,
my husband is going to be sleeping at his best friend's house, taking care of her children.
I think we can safely call her a side piece now. Also, like, the lifetime of being
Baby
like,
mama
why
drama.
didn't you guys just get married or something in the first place? Like, what was the purpose of
Yeah, why
having 4 children?
did he think he could have it all? Like, no.
That's too many kids.
You
That's too
two-timing
many kids.
asshole. I kind of already knew that anyways. So now it's just a question of how to proceed. Tom has already volunteered to submit his DNA so I can compare it to Luke's.
Good job, Tom.
And both he and Sophie advised me not to tell Luke and Amy when I do this, which I agree with. They're both completely on my side, which means more to me than I can ever express to them. Tom has also been trying to set up a camera in Amy's room to catch her, and Luke in the act. Sophie told me flat out that I needed to divorce her dad, and hearing that from my own daughter made it clearer than it's ever been. She's right.
Ooh, that's rough.
Update part 2. Jesus Christ in hell. Jesus Christ, that is a lot of information to digest. And I really hope everyone watching along is right there with us and steaming. Welcome fucking back, 2.9ers, to another dramatic story and another dramatic update. Yeah, fuck.
Shit was fucked.
This is juicier than the furries that we found.
Right? Like, this is like a spoken word Maury episode.
Yep.
It's wild.
This is great. And I love it. So let's get started with update part 3. Just a few more and then we're done. Let's get it. All right. Update part 3. I think my husband fathered his best friend's children and now one of them is attracted to my daughter. So, gonna tell you, like I told you the last, 4 or 5 episodes of these. If you haven't started the first one, you need to go start the first one and then backtrack, and then now we're going to be here. Okay.
Don't cheat yourself.
Don't
go watch
do
the
it.
first ones.
Nope, because you need to have the full story. Just like my producer, who's not even watching the cameras. He's literally just interested in the story now.
Shit is bonkers, y'all.
Should be off the walls. First, a few points to answer from the comments. Okay, I don't have any DNA test results back yet. They can take weeks, which is true. But now that I know Sophie is in no danger of dating a relative, the pressure is off. I'll get to this momentarily, but it frankly no longer matters if Luke fathered the children. I highly, highly doubt my father-in-law is having an affair with Amy.
Oh.
That just threw me for a loop.
Because
I forgot
these are
the
updates
answers.
from the
Okay.
comments. Okay. I was
At
like, where did that
worst-
come from?
Right? They're just like, father and son are going out one person.
I mean, it's not.
Wouldn't his be dried up like, powdered milk?
I'm
I
not
don't wanna
saying he
know.
fathered kids, but like, it was like
Some guy at the bar told me there's a lot of pills that people can take, and I said, I don't want to know this. That's
I don't think it.
your information that you can keep in your
dries
brain.
up. Puffs out of like duck.
It goes... At worst, he might know or even just suspect the truth about Amy and Luke. But it's possible that he just refuses to believe they would do such a thing. I've been vague about details for privacy, but to put it very simple, Jim and Amy are both pretty white. Kat and Luke are not. Okay. Biracial family. Had Jim fathered Amy's babies, they would look different than they do. Nevertheless, I do have an update. While a stream of comments have called me spineless and naive, fuck them, called me a sister wife, ew. As an ex-Mormon, that hits a particular nerve. She's an ex-Mormon! And most recently, a stream of comments have said my story is fake. Fair enough, it's the internet, but Luke is not the first scumbag husband to have 2 families. That's true. Several other comments have been incredibly kind and supportive, and I really appreciate that. Apologies if I haven't responded to a comment or direct message that you sent. I covered as many as I could, but I was literally getting hundreds, so I definitely missed several of them. First things first, I discussed this in the comments, but our little team has supposedly recruited my mother-in-law. I say supposedly because Sophie and Tom are going to talk to her about getting help with submitting the DNA test, and at the advice of my lawyer, I am staying out of the process.
Smart.
Officially, I told Sophie not to do it, and she said she wouldn't. Mother-in-law hasn't contacted me about it either. Though we have been in touch, I'll get into that in a moment. The bottom line is that I can honestly say I had no knowledge of any DNA test. Loophole City. Not whenever you type that out. Another bit of good news, I was digging through the paperwork in preparation for my divorce, wanting to get a head start against Luke. And one thing that came to my attention is that my name is on the paperwork for our home. Luke's name is not.
Uh-oh.
Bye, motherfucker. I was the one who bought the house, and we always planned to add Luke into the paperwork at some point, but we never got around to do it. And eventually the idea was forgotten. But it was my lawyer, Paige, who pointed this out to me, and it was like finding a winning lottery ticket on the ground. I don't know where I'd be without Paige. She's a dear friend from college who I reached out to hat in hand, not hand in hat, for help. She's been there for me this past week, not just as legal counsel, but as a friend I really needed right now. Red Bull break. The thing is, she's not our lawyer, me and Luke. We have our own family lawyer who has helped us out of jams in the past. We clashed with our HOA a few years ago, not getting into that right now, but Paige is a lawyer who specializes in family law and has handled divorces before. Luke remembers her from college and knows she went into law but doesn't know she's a divorce attorney. Oh my god.
About to find out, buddy.
Oh my god. Okay, so I can have her over for coffee, like we're catching up, and he has no idea anything's going on because he's a fucking idiot. Turns out he's not the only one who can harbor someone under his spouse's nose. Under the geese.
Guys.
Okay. Disguise? We couldn't just put disguise?
It's not a disguise.
Of being a friend.
A guy.
Of being a friend.
A disguise is a physical, and a guise is a...
So on to the update.
I saw those edits you did of me explaining things. Yeah.
Isn't it great, though?
Yeah, it was very funny.
Thank you.
But I hated it at the same time.
Aww.
Aww. You don't feel bad, you sadistic motherfucker.
No, I don't.
Get back in there, Tia.
The last time I looked in Luke's phone was 3 months ago, around the point Sophie and Tom began to go around claiming they wanted to date. I found nothing. While I know how to search for recently deleted photos and didn't see any, why would you just do the photos? My comments taught me how to find recently deleted messages. So when Luke was asleep, I did just that. Swiped his phone, brought it downstairs, checked recently deleted. I'm glad I did, but I also wish I had not.
Oh.
Okay, because I'm still reeling from the pain. Sure enough, a conversation with Amy had been deleted. Recent text talking about the conflict between me and her, with Amy describing me as a problem and Luke trying to pacify her without defending me at all, to be clear. They both alluded to how they had expected this for a while and just hope it would never happen. Are you idiotic? Presumably, me accusing them of having an affair. While the whole conversation and the fact that it was deleted was sketchy, nothing was actually admitted. So I scrolled a bit higher to a few days before the fight. Amy's message got a bit more flirty. Oh shit. Then I saw it. 5 days before I confronted them, Amy had sent Luke a topless pic. A selfie with no shirt or bra. Guys, I teared up. I knew it was true. I knew it in my bones, but seeing the proof still cut me like a hot knife. Dude, I'm crying for you. Doesn't help that Amy's always had bigger breasts than me. I exited the messages app and checked Luke's recently deleted photos. Sure enough, the same selfie was there and others. Amy topless, Amy naked in various poses to show off. There were pictures of the two of them together, cuddled and pressed close like a couple. In some of these, she was naked, and some they both were. There were videos. Amy sent Luke a video message of herself topless, and I had to actually hear her voice talking to him in a tone that made me sick, about how she was sending him a quick video to help him get through the day. In more than one video, she called him her boo, and hearing her call him that, I almost vomited. Stopped looking at that point. I'd seen enough. Damn. I would be putting those all back in the phone and then sending them to me and then deleting all of that. For about 5 minutes, then a strange compulsion to keep searching led me to check Luke's laptop. I knew enough of his passcodes to access his iCloud storage, and yeah, basically more of the same. There were letters, long letters between them. I didn't have the heart to read past the first few lines of one of them, but I did read Luke mention our children. There were countless naked/topless selfies of Amy, selfies of them together, videos where Amy appeared to be masturbating. There were sex tapes of the two of them. Tom had previously offered to try and hide a camera in Amy's room, but fuck, he never needed to.
They had their own.
Yep. Luke was hiding a whole treasure trove under my nose all along. I scrolled and scrolled and scrolled. There were so many, going back years. Not all of it was even sexual. There were some photos of Amy's kids too. One video was of Kaylee and the twins playing together when they were younger, and Luke and Amy's voices from behind the camera. There were even old pictures of Luke and Amy from when they were younger. I'd even say teenagers. I snapped. All these years I had been telling myself I had been wrong, that it couldn't be true. Well, it was. I knew that no one forced me to look at as much of the evidence as I did, but I'm still hurting very badly from seeing it and in that moment. I wanted to act, so I did. I called my lawyer, who is a remarkable woman. It was the middle of the night, so I had to call her twice, and she picked up. Though I had woken her up when I asked her to come by and said it was an emergency, she agreed.
What a champ.
Oh, God. I also asked her to draw up the paperwork and have it ready. She told me that she already had it ready since I first reached out to her. Dude, she knew.
It's a bad bitch right there.
Queen. As I waited for her, I went through the necessary channels on Luke's laptop to make sure he wouldn't be able to remotely disconnect our access to his little stash, changing passwords and all that. My lawyer, Paige, arrived and I went outside to greet her in the car. Spent a good half hour in the passenger seat just crying, and she was great about that before I passed her Luke's phone and his laptop with all the information she needed to use them. She warned me that this could be considered theft, so I asked her to forward and print out copies of everything she could and then bring the items back because I couldn't bear to do it myself. She agreed. I went back inside and then I packed up Luke's things while the house slept. At one point, Owen got up to use the bathroom and asked me what I was doing, but I told him I was just cleaning. Luke stirred once or twice while I was in the bedroom, but did not wake up. I got all of his things packed into trash bags and loaded up the car. That's when I woke him up and told him to come outside. He was confused and half asleep, but he did notice things were missing. I ignored his questions and just told him to come with me, so he followed me outside.
Oh, I'm about to get locked out, homeboy.
Once we were by the car, I pulled out the divorce papers and officially handed them to him. That was about when he figured out what I was doing, and he tried to talk me out of it. Tried to be sweet with me, to be tender. He kept insisting that he loved me and that there had never been anything with Amy. Kept trying to persuade me not to tear our family apart. Even 2 weeks ago, I might have wilted under him because the manipulation and gaslighting were truly masterclass, but I can see through it now. I didn't tell him that I knew he was full of shit. I didn't tell him what I had seen. I just told him we were finished. He tried a different approach. He refused to go, stated firmly that our children were his too, and that even if we were separating, I had no right to just decide the kids would stay with me over him. This was where I very coldly presented the paperwork, reminding him that the house is in my name, and told him under no circumstances would my kids be staying with Amy. He argued a little while. He argued a while longer, but in the end, he decided to be the bigger person and keep the peace.
Boy, you got caught red-handed. Shut the fuck up.
At that moment, I didn't care where he went. Before he left, he did ask about his phone and laptop, and I waved him off by saying they were in one of the bags. Bought a little time. I couldn't sleep for the rest of the night. I cried more. Eventually, I realized I'd have to wake my children up early and explain to the extent that I could. Naturally, I woke Sophie first. I told her that I had kicked her father out and that I had discovered evidence of an affair on his devices. I did not specify what kind of evidence, and she did not ask. I woke up to the others and gently told them that their dad had gone to stay somewhere else for a while, that I wasn't sure where, but from now on, things were going to be different. Louise was the one to ask if we were getting a divorce, and I couldn't lie to her. I told her yes. Owen asked when they could see their father again, and I wanted to cry. Sophie was a very big help, urging her siblings to be sympathetic to me right now and not worry about dad. And worry about dad later. I knew better than to poison them against their father. Paige warned me against doing that as well. It's just a basic thing to do, right?
Yeah, because like the shittier you are, the shittier they are, and like was a court case, yeah.
Like they need to make their own decisions.
If you show up to the court case and you've been nothing but a good sport about it, like they'll tell the other person to go.
Yeah. So I only told Sophie that the affair was confirmed since she had already been in the know. However, as the kids were getting ready for school, Owen approached me and asked me point blank if it was about Amy, if Luke was going to be with her instead of me. I couldn't answer, but I suppose that's an answer on its own. I got the kids to school, and my next step was calling to have the locks changed. I knew Luke would be back for his devices before long, but thankfully Paige returned them before he showed up again. It was a very quick visit. She just told me that all was accomplished and she had records of everything we would need in court. Sure enough, Luke turned up an hour later demanding to know where his laptop and phone were. I had set them back in our bedroom like they had never moved, and I just told him he had forgotten them. He insisted that I said they were in one of the bags, so I just shrugged him off and told him I must have been mistaken. After he grabbed them, he tried again to reason with me, but I just showed him the door door. I knew the kids would start to come home from school before long, and I think he was trying to delay leaving so he could see them. I was not having it. I started shouting again and sent him on his way. I'm still just in absolute pain and despair for what I saw. I don't know if he'll realize that anyone went through his devices and made copies of the evidence, or if he suspects I saw anything, but he obviously didn't say so. After he left, I cried once again. Talked to my mother-in-law that night. Apparently, Luke did show up to his parents' house, which was a surprise, as I was certain he'd stay with Amy. But maybe even he knows how suspicious that would look to the children and doesn't want to rock the boat as much. Maybe he knows I'm more likely to let my children see their grandmother than Amy at this point. He wants to see them to give his version of events. This is not happening. Kat already shared his version with me that he relayed to her and Jim, that I'm having some kind of mental breakdown and he wishes he could help me, but my paranoia is causing me to lash out and turn violent.
Uh-oh. You can't say that.
I was never violent. I shoved him away when he tried to hold me, that is all. And what's so hilarious is that he didn't mention Amy at all to his parents. He didn't even frame it as me falsely believing he was having an affair, even though that's his story when talking to me. He left, not me, but the woman. He left Amy out of it when talking to his parents. Kat noticed that. She believes me. Jim doesn't know what to believe anymore. According to Kat, he seemed very, very troubled by what he heard from all sides. As for Amy, she's radio silent. Crazy. Tom has told Sophie that she's acting like nothing is wrong but is clearly stressed out. That when her children ask, she makes the same sort of claims. That I'm having some kind of emotional nervous breakdown and pushing her away, as well as Luke. She doesn't mention anything about my accusing them of an affair, but still puts it all on me. Amy has not reached out to talk to me directly, and I have not tried talking to her since our big argument. I haven't really told my kids anything, just that I'm having disagreements with Luke and Amy, though I was very clear that it is not a question of my mental health. Honestly, I think they all kind of know what's going on. Sophie continues to be my rock, as I try to be for her and the others, and Tom continues to be our spy in the ranks. Give Tom a fucking medal.
Right? Somebody buy Tom something.
Yeah, it says best tomcat in the world. Right now, my biggest regret is the stress that all of this is causing on the children, which I knew it would, but it still needed to be done. My life has fallen apart, but it was never my life.
It's a rough one, bud.
Fuck.
Paige, we was rooting for you, bro.
Is everyone against this woman?
Paige?
No, against the author.
Oh, why are we against the author?
That's what I'm asking. Is everyone against the author? Like, it feels like only Kat, the grandma, is for her.
Oh, because she now has a problem of some sort with Paige?
Maybe
this lady's just a bitch.
Maybe she's in on it too.
Yeah, right? He's fucking Paige too. Yeah, well, I met her when you met her in college.
Right?
Anyway.
Oh my gosh. Little sneak peek into update part 4. Update part 4. I think my husband fathered his best friend's children, and now one of them is attracted to my daughter. As you saw in this spicy little first bit, now something's happening with Paige. Paige is the lawyer. Paige is her lawyer. Here we go. In my last post, there were a number of criticisms towards Paige. You guys will like this update, as it turns out you weren't the only ones who had a problem with her. As far as the deed being in my name, it's not an absolute hook, line, and sinker, but Paige is convinced that between that and my having been the one paying the mortgage, I stand a very good chance. Sorry, I couldn't scroll fast enough. It could be interrupted. My brain just got interrupted. It could be interpreted as a common marital property, but I'm going for primary custody with supervised visits anyways. I'm playing hardball. People also questioned whether I should still be posting these, but as long as it's all anonymous, I am in the clear. True. Doesn't even matter if someone knows me could figure out I posted. Doesn't matter if someone who knows me could figure out I posted this. Doesn't even matter. Doesn't matter. I didn't use any real names or reveal my location or anything like that. As for the laptop, even Paige admitted that was questionable, but technically I gave permission and she was only doing what I could have easily done on my own. I just really didn't want to go through all of that content. As far as the divorce papers, Paige had them filled out after the very first time I contacted her. Day ones. My serving them to Luke was ceremonial. She still contacted him later to officially serve him and request his lawyer's details. But before he could respond, I had already done something a little sneaky. I reached out to our family attorney, the one who has always been on call to represent me and Luke during our marriage. He helped us out of a jam with HOA a while back. I'll call him Zach. Now, contrary to some of the comments, suggestions, I cannot just go around town consulting with every lawyer in the area with the explicit purpose of locking my husband out of hiring them. That is bad faith, and judges don't look too kindly on it. However, this was Zach. He had been my attorney and Luke's for years. I feel like I had just as much right to him as Luke did, and I got there first. So I was able to nail down our family's lawyer. Met with both him and Paige, and boy, howdy. Is that a phrase?
Yes.
Huh, I've never heard that. That's why I was like, what the fuck did she just say?
From Texas?
I know. I haven't heard boy howdy.
That's wild to me.
Yeah. And boy, howdy, do they not like each other. Zach brought up some of the same problems as some of my comments. Wait, don't like who? He argued that Paige's activity was in the gray area and urged me to hire him to represent me in the divorce instead. Oh, so the lawyers don't like each other.
Oh.
That caused a bit of a conflict as Paige is explicitly a family attorney and this is her specialization. So I'm going to be consulting both of them from here on out. Zach actually thinks it's a good idea that I made these posts as they can't really do much other than to prove my sanity when Luke and Amy try to argue otherwise. Okay. Overall, I'm doing better. I've been talking to a friend in the real life, because apparently we're in The Sims, the mom of one of Sophie's friends. I also have therapy scheduled for myself, and I intend to look into family therapy as well. When my kids ask me what's going on, I simply tell them that their father and I are having adult problems, and it's nothing they need to worry about. That worked out for about a day. Sophie warmed me. She warmed me up in the oven. Sophie warned me they were planning to confront me as a group, and they did, asking if Dad had cheated on me with Amy. Obviously, they've been talking about this, and perhaps they have been for longer than I anticipated. Perhaps they've been wondering. Again, even though I had absolute proof, I was hesitant to tell them as much, and let me explain why. I feel like that's pretty self-explanatory not to tell them.
Yeah.
That's a very difficult situation to go through.
Yeah, I mean, like, and that's the thing, man. Everybody's going to have 1,000 opinions on how to handle this shit, and like...
But then your kids, that's who she's talking about.
No, I know.
Yeah.
But that's what I'm saying. I don't think there is a good way to handle it.
There's not a right way. No. I naturally wouldn't tell them about the pornographic content I found. I would simply say that I found messages between Luke and Amy revealing their affair. But with the exception of Sophie, they wouldn't be satisfied with that. I already know Carter, curious little sweetheart that he is, would want to see these messages. So instead, when I was asked directly by my kids if their dad had cheated on me, I simply said I believe he did, yes, with as much certainty as I could muster. Damn. I think they believe me. Tom and Sophie are texting nonstop, and from what I can gather, there's doubt among Amy's children as well. That is about me losing my mind. That's good. And not about their mother being too close to my husband. So their doubt is literally the lies that Amy and Luke are spewing. Got it. I think it's slowly sinking in for poor Jim that what he didn't want to believe was possible is very much possible, and it's happening. I haven't shown him or Kat any letters or anything. They're hosting Luke, so I haven't had much of any contact with them at all. But I did have one phone call with Kat where we wished each other well. That was nice. In the background, I could hear shouting, and though Kat quickly went outside, I did hear what sounded like Jim shouting at Luke. He didn't usually shout. He's the calmest man I've ever met, so in a way, I'm worried about him, but also relieved that the wool is being pulled off of his eyes. According to Kat, Luke is still staunchly denying everything. He was pretty upset when he found out that I had poached Zach, though, which gave me a kind of grim satisfaction. The test results came back. Fuck. Okay. Sophie and Tom tested their DNA against each other to see if they truly are blood siblings. Here's the surprise. According to the test, they're not. They don't share any DNA. To everyone who believed Jim had fathered Amy's babies, here is definitive proof that he did not, because the test would have revealed that too. But I never believed it anyways. Sophie has her doubts and wonders if the tests weren't faulty and if we should take another test to be absolutely certain, but I'm not really worried about that. More confused than anything, I was so certain Tom had to be Luke's son. He was too. Now he didn't know. I know. Wait.
What?
Are any of the kids... Oh, fuck. Now he doesn't know what to think and I don't either. I obviously know the affair happened and lasted years, and I know from the letters that Kaylee is Luke's child. Okay, so Kaylee's at least Luke's child.
That's the second oldest, right?
The one with the allergy.
Yeah.
Yeah. Or at least both he and Amy seem to believe she is, which confirms they were intimate 15 years ago. Now I'm just wondering for Tom's sake.
Got caught with receipt.
I know. Who, if not Luke, is his father? He does kind of look like Luke, but that might just be a coincidence. In general, everything was quiet for a few days until it wasn't. Until she finally showed her face. My best friend, Amy. I'm so happy I installed Ring cameras everywhere, as you're about to understand. Sure enough, Amy turned up on my doorstep and asked to talk. She had a relaxed demeanor and did not raise her voice. Assuming she was approaching me on Luke's behalf, I told her that I wasn't interested in talking to her and to just go away. She didn't leave, but she didn't make a scene either. She persisted in telling me we need to have a conversation. The kids weren't home and did have cameras inside. What?
Like she's saying she has cameras in.
I was recording her on my phone and being discreet about it, so eventually I relented and let her in. I don't know if she realized she was on camera. We sat down on the couch and she instantly got into the reason for her visit. Turns out, she and Luke know or suspect that I procured damning material from his laptop.
Uh-oh.
Amy accused me of going through his devices and told me that anything I found was not my business and I needed to delete it. No. That was all she had to say. No apology, no admission of guilt, didn't take responsibility of her own behavior. Hell, she might have known I was recording her because she didn't even directly acknowledge what the sensitive material on Luke's laptop actually was. Or she's embarrassed. So I confronted her. Letting out some of my anger, I asked how she could have the nerve to make demands of me. I asked her why she and Luke would do a thing like this in the first place. Why had they seen fit to spend all these years betraying me? I posed the question that I had been wondering about for a long time, and as I expected, I got no answer. Literally, Amy didn't seem to really hear me, even as I confronted her. She seemed like she was stressed, panicked even, but she was keeping it under wraps. She ignored my questions and accusations and just kept telling me to delete whatever content from Luke's laptop that I had. She said that if I wanted to divorce Luke, that was my call, but not to drag her into it. You're already into it. You've been in here for 15 years, bitch. Oh, that made me so mad. I kept my temper, but I did snap back that she was already very much into it. Yes. Amy just kept repeating herself, telling me to delete whatever I found, so I just refused. I asked her point blank, why should I? Why did I have any reason to? Amy got more aggressive, raising her voice. She was trying to intimidate me, but I held my ground. She told me that this wasn't about me and that I needed to just do as she said. What? That it was very important. So I asked again, why? And yet again, she would not answer. So I asked her if Luke had sent her to do this or if she had shown up on her own. No answer to that either. It was like talking to a brick wall. So I asked her to leave. Just as I'd been afraid of, she wouldn't go. She refused to leave until I deleted everything I'd found in front of her. I couldn't help laughing. Oh my God, I would be too.
Like, because her lawyer printed shit out too?
Right? I told her no, that wasn't going to happen. This is where I could see her starting to freak out more. In another moment, she got up, ran into the other room, and grabbed my laptop. Before I could stop her, she smashed it on the floor. That doesn't do anything.
The files are in the computer.
I really don't know why she thought that would work or get her the outcome she wanted. I think she was just panicking. Obviously, I still have everything. Plus, it's recorded.
Right? Like, you just smashed. But like that scene in fucking Zoolander. Do you remember that?
I haven't seen Zoolander.
Oh my God.
Play the clip.
Press the Apple thing.
Except now I need to buy a new laptop. And sadly, her doing this was out of frame of the camera, but it's fine. All my important files are backed up. And at that moment, I was more concerned that Amy would do something else drastic. She looked like she was going to have a breakdown. I tried again very calmly to tell her that she needed to leave or I would call the police. She refused again. Call the cops.
Right.
Point blank. And just repeating her demand that I drop this whole cheating angle and divorce Luke without trying to argue that an affair took place. Because she can't potentially get her kids taken away.
Oh.
Depending on what state you are. I don't know where you're at. So at that point, I just stared at her. at the woman I had considered one of my dearest friends in all the world, and I told her that I didn't owe her anything, but she owed her children the truth, that they had the right to know where they came from, who Luke really was to them. Amy bristled and told me it was none of my business, that I didn't understand her family and I needed to back off. She kept going back to this idea that I could divorce Luke, but I must not claim he'd had an affair with her. Do we think Amy's married? Like secretly married? And that's a part of like the prenups. I also know if Luke comes from, I don't remember if we said it or not, but if Luke comes from a very rich family and they had a prenup whenever they got married, the whole cheating clause, he would lose everything.
Oh, I didn't even think about that. I mean, she hasn't mentioned money though.
I don't remember the first one. And no, we haven't, but we do know the grandparents are rich. So I wonder if it's a rich family.
Oh, that's true. I forgot.
I know we talked about prenups, but I can't remember which episode it was.
Yeah, either.
Watch me editing, I find the videos and it's the same fucking story. And I keep jumping back to this. If I'm dumb, I'm dumb. If not, I don't know what video it is. But
it's fine. Everyone's fine.
I just told her that I didn't need her permission to handle my divorce how I wanted and told her again to leave. She got more and more desperate and her anger accelerated to the point that she was physically attacking me. Oh, hell no. I did not expect her to actually do this. I'm not much of a fighter, but I do know the human body pretty well and where it's weakest. She hurt me pretty badly, but I got her off of me. That part was very much on camera, and the whole audio was recorded on my phone. She finally left after that, and I immediately called to file a police report. Oh, hell yeah. I had the strangest feeling she'd try something similar and wanted to beat her to the punch. I was able to clean myself up by the time I had to face my kids, and while I downplayed the story, I did not lie to them about why I had a black eye. I told them...
Daddy's girlfriend punched me.
The baby mama. I told them for their own safety to steer clear of Amy. I also sent the footage to Paige and Zach as well as pictures of my injured state before I cleaned up. They've also printed out the letters that reference Kaylee as Luke's child. I really feel like Amy just screwed herself over on all of this. I don't know what her motives were. Was she protecting Luke? Was this his idea? Does she really just not want the world to know she's a homewrecker? Is she covering her own ass? As if people didn't know already. The more of my social circle I talk to and inform of the basics, the more people are confessing that they had wondered in the past. Let me reiterate the term communication. It's weird, right? It relates to all relationships, even friendships, social circles. I don't understand why people just don't tell everyone. Not everyone, but if I had a inkling of someone being cheated on that was one of my friends in my social circle, I'd be like, are we sure these kids aren't his? I would definitely be planting those seeds.
I mean,
call me a horrible person, but I'm going to protect the people that I care about.
Motherfuckers be talking though.
Not in the right way.
I just work here, lady. Get out of here.
The more people are confessing that they had wondered in the past if Luke wasn't cheating on me but didn't have any concrete proof. I suppose Amy doesn't want her kids to know who fathered them, which does line up, but I'm still not sure about Tom. I didn't ask Amy about him in particular. I don't know why you guys are so eager for these updates, but I don't mind posting them. I've never blogged about my life before. I'd imagine it feels something like this. So, cheating husband for more than 15 years.
Yeah.
For their entire relationship. Let's just say entire relationship. We definitely know Kaylee is Luke's daughter.
Yeah.
Okay. Paige and the lawyers, they just don't like each other, whatever. The family, the parents absolutely hate their child now.
Yeah.
Disgrace. Amy has now violently attacked the author, and it's on camera.
Fight scene.
For why? I guess we'll get to find out next week.
Super duper racist. Anyway, we're recording now, like always.
All right, last one of the cheating motherfucking two-timing husband.
Killing it.
Like and subscribe, motherfuckers.
Inappropriate.
Producer loves it. Anyways,
Yeti in the closet. Or leg monster.
melting Yeti in the closet because it's fucking hot up in here with this spicy-ass read.
Oh, it's pretty good in here. I got a fan.
I'm sweating balls over here. Anyways.
Want to change really quick?
No, because this is the last one.
Okay. Roll up your sleeves or something.
They are rolled. It's okay. It looks weird if I roll them up anymore.
Okay.
Anyways, okay. This is the brief update. Hey guys, it's been a rough week. This is after Amy's punched her in the face. She has a black eye. She sent that to her lawyers. what's next? She's told her kids kind of what's happened, and now we're getting into a little bit more. A lot has happened. I don't really want to talk about all of it in detail, so I'm going to keep this short. I know I never shut up. It's just how I am. Same girl. But I'm going to be much more brief this go around. Luke has a lawyer now. I don't know him, but he met with Zach and Paige. To everyone saying I should have Amy arrested, I probably could have if I had shown the police the video. Instead, I just sent it to my lawyer. You know, you can get a restraining order.
Right.
But then at the same time, that means Amy's probably going to crack down on Tom seeing your daughter, and then there's going to be no update. Smart move. Maybe this makes me foolish, but even now, I think part of me is still trying to protect people I once loved and go easy on them. True. But everything's been on hold for the past few days because Jim had a heart attack. Fucking Luke made him have a heart attack.
Really, though?
I saw Luke and I saw Amy and Amy's kids at the funeral. Oh my God, he died? Oh my God. Luke, you killed your father.
Shit, dude.
You killed Darth Vader. I know I'm not supposed to make a joke about that, but like...
That's bonkers.
Because of this, your father had a heart attack and now you're going a funeral. What? Karma hit the wrong person. Call me horrible for laughing, but like, you should see me at funerals in the first place. It's very difficult for me. Yeah. I just laughed the entire time. And anyways.
That's the behavior of a crazy person.
I'm not crazy. I just don't know how to express my emotions.
You express them by not blowing into the microphone.
Yeah. I also would probably be the best, like, what is it? Autopsy person? A coroner? I would be the best coroner because
You would giggle at dead bodies?
No, I'd just be like, okay, we're cutting you open now. Okay. A funeral. Okay. It was the first time we were all together since before all this happened. Nobody talked about what was going on, short of Amy briefly apologizing for what happened before. She did seem sincere, I'll give her that, but I wasn't about to call her out anyways. I would. I'd be like, you know what? I think there's room for 2 in the casket. Let's go. Amy, Luke, and Kat all seemed pretty devastated. I was too, but we all agreed not to argue or talk about the divorce and just let the day be a ceasefire to focus on Jim. Luke and I had a nice conversation about him. I've been spending time with my kids and taking a couple of days off work. I have enough of them on the back burner. Oh, the work part. Okay. I thought you meant your kids. I was like,
yeah.
Luke also saw the kids twice before and after the funeral with me present. It went well at my discretion. It went well. At my direction and Sophie's, they didn't mention Amy, and Luke didn't try anything funny with any of them. Well, because you're fucking present. Like,
right.
I think he does miss them and hates that he can't see them. Thanks to all of this. Well, he made his bed, now he has to lay in it. The kids are also pretty upset.
He made Amy's bed too.
And he ate the cake too. Yep. All the whipped cream's gone. All the kids are pretty upset about losing Grandpa on top of not being able to see Dad as much as before. I don't think any of them blame me, but that's far from the point. Frankly, that's a whole sentence. I don't think any of them blame me, but that's far from the point, frankly. Carter slept in my bed the last 3 nights. I'll get more into this in the future when I have the energy to talk about what's going on in more detail. But whoever suggested that Kat lied about the test results was correct. She never sent them in.
The DNA?
The DNA test results.
Catherine, you can't do that.
She confessed as much to me. I guess she didn't feel comfortable going behind her son's back, but did feel comfortable lying to me to protect him until she didn't, until she felt guilty and she came clean. Under the circumstances, I'm not angry with her, but I know better than to trust her anymore. As far as I know, she did not tell Luke about the test, but it means Tom could still be Luke's son. Probably is. My lawyers finished going through Luke and Amy's letters with a finer tooth comb. The bottom line is they definitely found what it was that Amy didn't want me to see, and I now completely understand why she was so panicked. I fucking knew it. I fucking knew it.
You gotta tell me.
It has to do with why Amy and Luke didn't marry conventionally. They did something very bad, but this is genuinely something that I'm not sure I should be talking about, even on an anonymous internet post.
Right.
I haven't even been able to collect my feelings about what Amy and Luke have done, especially with everything else going on. So I don't know if I should be more explicit. I'm sorry, I know that's not what everyone wants to hear, but please try to understand. Paige agreed with me that when in doubt, don't post it. I've told my lawyers to put a pin in it for now because I'm in no fit of state to figure out how to proceed with it or if I should use it against them. Wait, they didn't marry conventionally. That means none of this is legal? They didn't marry conventionally. Is this literally what I was thinking the last time? That like Amy could be married to someone else and it has to do with, okay. It's difficult not to blame myself for Jim. I can only imagine Luke and Amy are blaming themselves too. Well, I would hope Luke would be. I know they're bad people. I don't forgive them, but this tore them apart as it did me. And I think all three of us feel like the divorce stressed Jim out to the point where it may have contributed it. High five. He already had heart disease.
Oh my God. They popped his heart.
Like I said before, karma went to the wrong person. Bad karma went to the wrong person. Actually, maybe that is the bad karma that ensued on Luke and Amy is because he did this for so long, and whatever this secretive thing that him and Amy did. Oh my God. Okay. And in particular, I blame myself for showing him what I showed him. I showed him the proof of the affair shortly before he died. I'll be carrying that with me for a very long time, even if I shouldn't. I'll update again.
Killed him.
Dang. Fucking, there's boob surgery, right? I'm sorry, I'll respond to the comments as I can. I'll update again whenever I do. Oop, I forgot that I already put it on here. Okay, sorry.
Very good.
Okay, I know this is going to be a little bit more lengthy, so I'm not going to cut it here, but this is the last update. Update 5. I'm assuming this is going to tell us what the whole thing that Luke and Amy did.
I fucking hope so, dude.
I really hope Amy's married to some mafia lord, and this is why, because she doesn't want her head chopped off or something.
Or there's some weird Mormon shit going on.
Maybe. Because the wife is ex-Mormon.
Yeah, I know. So, what are these people?
Okay. Hey, everyone. This may very well be my last update for a while. If you want to contact us individually and let us know what happened, let me know. I'm in therapy now, as are my children. And from what I hear, Amy's children are as well. So that's good. So I should probably be focusing on healthier ways to expel my feelings. Nonetheless, I have talked to my therapist about these posts, and according to her, venting anonymously online can be healthy. Up to a point, this is true. If I do talk about my life again, I may do it in different subreddits or something. I'm still not sure. I'm going to fucking deep dive.
Right? You just earned yourself a stalker, lady.
Ding, 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 ding. Having a ding, ding. I have also met with the judge now. Many were worried about how these posts might come back to bite me in the ass, legally speaking. The short answer is that they won't. The long answer is that because they're anonymous, that's technically no risk of defamation or slander. I've changed enough of the meaningless details to give everyone fake names, which is true as to why whenever the podcast happens and we have that legal statement, everything is changed on names. No defamation, sorry. The posts aren't going to be relevant in the case, and I'm clear to keep writing them if I choose to do so long as I don't discuss the details of the actual case itself, though I think the judge would prefer I just stop writing these altogether. One of the reasons I may do so. Without divulging the specifics, I went ahead and reported what I had learned, and all hell broke loose. I knew I had to do so because Amy and Luke had changed gears after Jim passed. They began to make the case that Luke and I had always had an open marriage, that there could be no such thing as an affair, and any instances of Luke sleeping with Amy could not be counted against him. It is no accident that they chose to do this after we lost Jim. As far as I can tell, he was the only other person who knew about what Luke and Amy did and would have done something about it. Now that they don't have to worry about that, I think they wanted to claim I always knew about the affair and that it was no true affair. When I didn't report them, they must have assumed I didn't know the truth and they changed their story. But I knew. I reported it, and now they're fucked, which unfortunately means everyone else found out. There was no way the children wouldn't learn the truth about it through the grapevine. I told Sophie and Tom personally because I figured they would learn of it anyways. The others did. Tom was pretty shell-shocked. I know I'm just the messenger, but I felt terrible and I wanted to confront him. But there wasn't a whole lot I could do. Poor Kaylee did not handle it well. I'm told she had several meltdowns and then tried to run away. I know she tried to run away because she came to her house for sanctuary, and literally I had to give her back. I knew all the reasons I had to, but I was sorely tempted to give the middle finger to all of them and let Kaylee stay with us against Amy's wishes. But no, I had to relinquish her, and honestly, nothing has been harder than that was. Jesus.
Right.
I know it isn't my fault, but I still feel like I betrayed her. Sophie's also been dealing with a lot of anger toward her father father, especially after her and Amy forced Kaylee to come back to stay with Amy again. All of this, it hit Sophie and Kaylee the hardest. Fuck, what happened?
Right? I'm just saying, like...
Luke wanted to see Sophie again and she refused. She wouldn't come out of her room. Technically, I was supposed to let him see her, but she's 15 years old. I told her to come out of her room. She wouldn't. So in my book, I tried. This was after Kaylee's incident. So when Luke pressed me to force Sophie out of her room, I'm not proud to say I shouted at him to leave. You should be proud.
Right.
My blood was boiling at that point, though throughout all of this, my soon-to-be ex-husband and his affair partner are still acting like I'm the bad guy. Luke and Amy are angry with me, and that's putting it lightly. They have no right to be, but they are, or at least they're acting angry. I now have a restraining order against Amy because I was quite certain she would confront me after the fact that she already did, after I reported them and before Kaylee came over. Amy came to the house while my kids were home, banged on the door, and screamed. She was furious with me for what I had done. That's negating the restraining order. You can get arrested. But I don't know what she expected me to do. I called the police, but Amy was gone by the time they showed up. They were just as useless as the last time, to be honest. When Kaylee came to me for asylum, Amy came after her, but I wouldn't let her in until she called the cops herself. I would only let one of them take Kaylee. Amy was not setting foot in my house. I was very clear to explain the situation, but it didn't matter. Amy later smeared me on social media and framed me as a kidnapper. I set the record straight without divulging too much about the circumstances of the situation, which I was tempted to do. Luke also gave me the lecture of a lifetime when I saw him, but I just kept cutting him off and spitting the facts in his face. I don't know if it's been my time away from him, but I'm learning to recognize his bullshit now, where previously I fell for it every time. He always sounds so reasonable and sweet, but what he's actually saying is often circular and evasive. Honestly, I'm so angry with him for what he's done to all his children. All of them. Kaylee especially. I want to adopt that girl. I know I can't, but I want to. Kat and I had a long talk as well. As far as I can tell, she didn't know, and she's genuinely sorry for her earlier deception. Trust takes time to rebuild, but I also understand that she was in an awful position. But now that certain things have come to light, she's kind of in shambles herself, so I pity her. What is it?
She's edging us over here, and I don't appreciate it.
Me too. Not to mention, if Amy loses custody of her children, and she very might, what is it? I really want to know.
Spoiler alert, is there enough left to read to where we're going to find out? We got to keep chugging. It's 7 o'clock. I'm hungry.
Okay. Not to mention, if Amy loses custody of her children, and she very well might, I'll need all the help I can get. I can't take all of them in. I don't have the space. Kat will need to do some of the legwork, so I'm trying to give her the chance to earn my trust back, sort of out of necessity. I can't speak to the long term, but if all goes as it should, Luke's not even going to get visitation of my kids. I really want to say I know what it is because of the circumstances.
What is it? Make a call.
So for a judge to take Amy's children away from her, also never give Luke visitation rights, that means either there's drugs in the household, but the visitation rights might still be okay. They're on drugs, they're doing it in front of the kids, or it's something like pedophilia. That right there would diminish all rights if something happened to the kids, if they did something to the children.
Well, wouldn't they have taken them away immediately, though, if that wasn't...
If it was reported?
Like, if that were...
Yes and no. Because they would send a caseworker out to the house to assess it. But if they don't find any evidence and no one confesses to it, that's the only other way someone would find out immediately. That's what I know. We'll know soon enough, though, and it will be on record if Amy's children were fathered by him. All I know is they've always been quite certain Kaylee was, though they never had her tested. So far as I can tell, Amy hasn't really been intimate with anyone other than Luke for a long time. For the record, Kat is still supporting Amy financially, and by that, I mean she's supporting Amy's kids. I don't mind that. If Amy loses custody, that all goes away anyways. As to the how and why of Luke and Amy getting together, from the letters, I've put the pieces together as best as I could. Amy was sexually abused as a child, and Luke was apparently the only person she felt safe exploring her sexuality with when they were in high school. It was a very bad idea, and they both knew the reason it was a very bad idea well before they made that choice. As to the lie about them being surrogate siblings, apparently they always did have that kind of a relationship emotionally, but they also did this. After Tom was born, they also believed Tom to be theirs, going off the letters. The bond took on more romantic aspects as well. Amy describes Luke as my person, and he says the same about her. I did read the letters in more depth, for as much as it sickened me, I wanted to understand. I'm doing better overall, though. Personally, I'm doing better, which makes me feel kind of guilty because nobody else is. My kids are miserable, which makes me miserable, but I know there's a light at the end of the tunnel, and I want them to see it. Luke and Amy are miserable, which honestly I'm not gonna say I'm glad about, but I don't know what they were expecting. They've been playing a monstrous game for decades. It was always going to have consequences sooner or later. Amy's kids are miserable, especially Kaylee. I wish I could reach out to her again, but I absolutely can't except through Tom. And he needs to play this carefully. Kat is miserable too. We're all still reeling from the loss of Jim, and honestly, the Kaylee incident really tore my heart in half. But I think I'm over the hump, and I'm taking comfort in how I'm actually choosing myself for a change. Knowing that Amy was sexually assaulted, it was a very bad idea. Felt safe exploring her sexuality when they were in high school. It was a very bad idea, and they both knew the reason it was a very bad idea well before they made that choice.
Okay, that's where I got lost. So we still don't quite know.
It is the thing that she's not saying.
Okay.
Is what happened.
I felt stupid the last part of that. I was like, wait, I missed it.
As to the lie about them being surrogate siblings, apparently they always did have that kind of relationship emotionally, but they also did this. But this is whatever happened between them. After Tom was born, they also believed Tom to be theirs, going off the letters. The bond took on a more romantic aspect as well.
So we still don't quite know what the thing is. You're going to trail us off like lady. Come on now.
My reasonings still stick.
Maybe they're related too.
I don't know.
This is.
Everyone tell me what you think down in the comments. We're going to try to do some research on this because there's so many things it could be. But from what I'm thinking, legally, aspect-wise, to have your children being taken away, I don't think it would have to do with anything of having children with your related partner. Like your partner that's...
Well, that's what I'm saying, man. This thing has gotten so wildly out of control.
This is crazy.
Oh my God.
They knew it was a bad idea, but they still did it anyways. That's
bad idea.
What was it though?
Just send this lady a message. Be like, hey, can you just tell me on the fly though?
Yeah, like I just want to know for my own peace of mind. As to the lie about them being surrogate siblings, but they also did this. It's got to be one of three things.
So is it something they did when they were young, or like, I guess, I don't know.
I think so. I don't know. Maybe it's some fucked up family situation.
That's what I'm so like. I
don't know. Y'all tell me.
None of the directions this can go are good.
No, because as soon as you say that, like, legally your children are going to be taken away from you, my brain is already like, I know children have been taken away because of abusive households, because of drugs, because of like gang-related incidences, because of sexual abuse. Like, those are all of the reasons. I've never seen children being taken away because their parents are related, because they're like siblings.
This whole thing has made me so tired.
So I don't know if like there's something that they did when they were younger, like the whole Romeo and Juliet thing.
That's what I was saying. Like, the way she's stating it implies it's something they did when they were younger.
It's also confusing because what if it's so dramatic for her because it's happening to her right now, but what if it's so simple as like they're, what is it,
Yeah.
Polyamorous?
Yeah.
Like they like to sleep with other people, and like maybe this is going on with different people.
I guess, but I feel like there's enough consenting folks out there that you wouldn't have to sneak around for your entire life.
I don't fucking know. I don't know. Just let us know your thoughts in the comments down below because this is crazy. And so far, there's no other updates. So yeah. All right. Now that we have fucking 9 minutes of dog shit, like also
2 seconds. A few things to pick over, like a chicken carcass.
I'm so glad that I can repost this and then be like, look how mean my producer is to me. Please send me money.
Who's being mean to you?
What's up, 2.9ers? Welcome back to Below the 4.0, a channel full of fuck-ups where we like to read people's fucked up stories because we have nothing better to do with our lives, right?
Woo!
Awesome. So I was on Reddit because I need to clip this stuff for editing, right? And I found out there's another update. There's another fucking update. And I'm so excited. And now we're going to read it and move the schedules around because fuck it, we got to keep going with this one. Always.
The silent,
Always.
the find the phone button and the silent button are right next to each other. I pushed the wrong one. I apologize. You always point out everything that I do wrong. Look how mean my host is. You're like Ellen. She hits me. She hits me off camera.
Update part 6. Guys, this is a month later. As in, she posted this 7 days ago, which means for filming that would have been, well, I'm gonna put it on the screen because I don't fucking know. It's just gonna flash right here.
Oh. You gave me a 20-ounce Red Bull, dude.
Look, I owed you for all the Red Bulls I'd been drinking, so I figured it wasn't gonna be the 36 ounce, it was gonna be the 20 ounce.
They have a 36-ounce Red Bull?
Dude, I grabbed that and I was like, maybe that's a little bit too big. And I was like, oh my God, it just keeps going down in size. And I was like, this is big enough.
That's what she said.
Yep.
36 ounces of Red Bull is too much for one container.
I drink like 4 of these a day. 4 of these.
You are going to die.
No, you can drink 6 in a day.
really quick. I want to do a quick segment before we keep going here. When I snap my fingers, you will forget that you were ever gay.
What?
Nothing.
Anyways.
You didn't say the thing. I thought you on the
Then I started laughing.
You didn't say the thing.
I'm not gay.
Have you seen the original video? When I snap my fingers, you will never remember that you are gay.
Dude, it's all over YouTube too.
Oh my God.
But I'm not gay. Exactly, it worked. But I'm not.
I hate it.
I never was gay. Oh my God, it fucking worked.
You can't even clip this fucking pile of shit at this point.
Do it again.
The time is coming past.
Grab your belly, get comfy, and let's get started with update number 6 of I think my husband fathered his best friend's children 1 month later. 1 month later.
80,000 impressions later.
Sponsored by Red Bull.
But only the Juneberry ones.
They boss.
Okay. Da-na-na-na-na-na-na-na.
No reading ahead.
First, someone claiming to be Luke made a post of his own. Do you remember the story? Okay, so catch up. Luke, Amy, and she never said her name. So the yeah, sorry, I keep reading ahead. The author.
God,
Stop. My she's really bad.
Help yourself.
Fixated. So Luke is the husband. The author is the wife that's doing this, and then Amy is the best friend.
Okay.
Amy's the one that Luke has been hiding that her kids are his. And then...
Yeah, I remember the actual story. I just forgot name.
So the husband, someone claiming to be Luke, the husband, made a post of his own.
Oh.
I do not know if it was actually him or just a random person pretending to be him for clout. We have to find this. We have to find this post because I want to see how identical it is. Even if I asked Luke about... Even if I asked Luke about it, I could never trust his answer. I did not see the post itself before it was deleted. Fuck. And the account suspended anyways onto the original post. Holy fuck. That means that, okay, so you know the person where we got this from, the story where we got this from?
Yeah.
The subreddit, that's what they were telling us.
Was that there was someone...
Onto the original post. Well... Maybe not, because she said even if I asked Luke about it. Anyways, whatever. Happy Halloween, everyone.
Happy Halloween.
She fucking posted this on Halloween. I was working an event, and this is her life. It's been a while. Things have continued to spiral. Shocker. Had a number of comments and private messages wanting to check in, which I appreciate. While I obviously still can't talk much about it, I've shown this post to my legal counsel before uploading it and had it approved as safe. So, refresher. Last week's episode, the one that we filmed 2 weeks ago?
Yep.
We found out there was something that they were keeping hidden and we couldn't figure out what it was.
Yep.
So we're still on that. So the headline here, which I already discussed in the comments, is that Luke and Amy talked about themselves as half siblings in the letters I found on Luke's laptop. There it is. Apparently she discussed it in the comments and we just never knew. That was the big secret. The timeline is still a bit unclear to me, but Jim had an affair with one of his college-age students and she got pregnant. Years later, her daughter became friends with Jim's son. Amy was abused in her parents' house and everyone in Luke's family wanted to get her out, which they eventually did. At that point, Jim told Luke and Amy the truth. It wasn't until a couple years later that they began to sleep together. I called it from the beginning. This is Game of Thrones shit.
No, it's not. Stop
It
blowing up
is.
the microphone.
I'm not even close to the microphone.
This is trailer park shit.
This is Game of Thrones.
So they knew Game of Thrones is trailer park.
Well, you just said no to the Game of Thrones, so we're saying the exact same thing. And you
Because
fucking...
saying it's Game of Thrones churches it up. This is some trailer park nonsense. So wait, Jim is
Jim's the dad.
of
Luke. Jim's the one that was like, I don't want to hear about this. Whenever Kat was like suspicious about it, which is
So that's probably why I didn't want to hear about it.
yeah, because he fucking did that
So
shit.
they knew. So daddy been cheating, and now this dude's been doing whatever fucked up shit with your sister.
Half sister.
Shouldn't have done that.
As far as recent updates, Kaylee has spent some time in the psychiatric ward. Kaylee is the daughter who has the allergy. Tom discovered that she had done something very reckless. Social services have also seen fit to remove her from Luke and Amy's care. So she is currently staying with Kat, the grandma. Amy hated that, and I'm told she raged for some time at the A&D. Anytime someone says raged, I think of ooh.
Fuck yeah!
Raged some time at the idea that I would poison Kaylee against her and that in her anger, she made some choice threats. What? She made some choice threats. God dang, that sucks. Yep. I have been advised not to reach out myself, but Kaylee has all my information and I did send her a message promising her that she could always come to me about anything. I think that's more than all right. If she initiates, I can't fucking read today, like always.
I was just gonna say, I think this is just a normal thing.
If she initiates, I will not turn her away. I took my kids to a haunted house tonight, but Sophie went over to Kat's to spend some time with Kaylee and pass out trick-or-treat candy with her. My troubles are not over. Dun, dun, dun. And they get worse after the test results came back.
Oh.
Everyone was tested. I finally know the truth now, beyond a shadow of a doubt, that Luke is the biological father of all 4 of Amy's children. Fuck. After years of wondering...
Kids are all quarter siblings with each other. That's
Yep. After years of wondering, confirmation feels strangely hollow. It changes almost nothing at this point, but it is proof that he was unfaithful to me. Luke is still maintaining that it was an open relationship. What? With your half-sister?
And open to who? Your parents?
Oh my god.
Who said and did nothing? You fucking coward. Fix your mistake.
I had thought to use incest charges against him and Amy, but that plan hit a roadblock. The 2 of them had mandated testing as well, and at least according to the results, Luke and Amy are not siblings. I don't understand it either. Perhaps Jim was wrong all the time. Either way, I still have proof that they believed it to be true, but they are now insinuating that was just... Sorry, I keep wanting to say insisting as in insinuating.
Oh.
But they are now insisting that was just a kind of role play for them. I'm gonna fucking throw up. Luke also threw a curveball at me by demanding we test my children as well.
Oh, did you get caught now?
Is Luke my father? Because he fucking did this shit too. He manipulated her into thinking that the kids weren't his. So he was like, if you want any money out of me, each time, by the way, like each pregnancy, you want any money out of me, you're going to have to get them tested.
Oh.
And I said, honey, those kids look exactly like you. They've been through enough as it is. But he is claiming that I also participated in the open relationship and the paternity of our children would prove it. In particular, he was adamant that Sophie be tested. I couldn't figure out why, but I think Luke must know something I do not. Because the test results for Sophie came back negative. Holy fuck. They said that Luke is not her father. Then Luke began to claim that he had tested Sophie years ago to be sure. I was certain he was lying, that he had somehow sabotaged the test, but he did submit a DNA test from about 10 years ago, and it likewise maintains that Luke is not Sophie's father. What the fuck?
Sophie is the author's daughter?
Mm-hmm.
So how does she not know about her not being like? So did
That's a tricky one. I don't know because she maintains that she never cheated on him.
okay?
Was there like a IVF or like an artificial insemination or something?
I mean,
like,
boy is knocking out 8 kids. I don't think that's been a problem.
I don't know. Before anyone asked, no, I never had an affair of my own. I never cheated on Luke. I had no idea how this had happened, and I could not make sense of it. I requested another test, and that has yet to arrive. Okay, so there's 2 tests. But with 2 tests already, I'm bewildered and frightened. I don't know how this is possible. In the original post, someone suggested Luke could be a genetic chimera.
I was just gonna say there's a few genetic conditions that can cause that, but like
What is that?
like I can't remember exactly what it's called, but like you can quite literally have different DNA because of the way it combined wasn't like correct, or like
Well, that makes sense.
I've seen a couple of sets of twins from white people where one twin is white and one twin is black.
Well, yeah, because there's like a gene somewhere that.
So like it's just that kind of
Okay.
I don't know. Genes do be doing weird shit though.
I doubt this is the case, but I asked Kat, and she doesn't know anything about Luke having absorbed a twin. There it is. Since I was never unfaithful to Luke, I can only assume that something was done without my consent. I've never been sexually assaulted as far as I'm aware, but there are a few nights back when I used to get drunk with Amy that someone could have possibly drugged me. What scares me is that Luke tested Sophie years ago. I feel like he knows more about this than he's letting on. I've discussed this with my therapist and my lawyer. I've tried to get to the bottom of it, but I just don't know. I have been upfront about everything with Sophie. Fuck, that sucks because this is the daughter that like found out.
Yeah.
Figured it out with Tom. Many comments pose the idea that there was a mishap at the hospital and that Sophie may not biologically be mine, which is true. She was almost never out of my sight during that time, so I don't think it was possible. Who knows? Because if you go to sleep and the dad's there.
I mean, but that would be easy to solve. Like, does mom share any DNA with this kid? So
That's true.
you know what I mean?
Mhm.
Somebody's got to share some DNA with this kid at some point.
But we'll do the appropriate test to be sure anyways. I believe Luke brought this up to try and make Sophie doubt me, to drive a wedge between us. I've promised her that I have never had an affair, that these results are impossible. I don't think she believes me completely. Fuck. That's a shitty ass situation just because like you're already seeing your dad cheat and how he has like a whole entire different family, and then on top of that now you have to believe your mom.
Right.
So, fuck. But I also don't get the sense that she's angry with me or that she feels betrayed. I think she would honestly prefer it were true at this point, that Luke was not her birth father. The rest of the kids don't know about this part yet, but they probably will soon. Gossip is spreading like wildfire among Amy's kids and my own. I've never been the sort of parent to read my kids' texts, so I'm not sure about specifics, but I'm not going to address this with them unless Sophie gives me her blessing. She was the only one whose results came back negative, and the rest of the kids are proven to be Luke's. Isn't that weird how he already knew?
Yeah.
Kat is not speaking to either of her children, but that's not to say she's giving them the silent treatment. Technically, they're not allowed any contact with Kaylee right now, so keeping distance isn't really optional. But Kat is furious with both of them. Now that she's seen the state Kaylee is in, she's likely going to explode at them when she next has the chance. Is she talking about Amy?
I think so.
But we just found out that Amy and Luke aren't related.
Maybe it's just like she's gotten so used to
That's true.
calling them that. I don't know.
I wish I could describe a happier ending for her family, but the trouble is far from over. I'm actually somewhat traumatized by the idea that I might have been assaulted and never known it until now. And if that is indeed the case, I'm not looking forward to the conversation where Sophie finds out about that and about her origins. Anyways, I don't know when I'll update next, but at least by reposting, I can answer any questions that you might have.
Do you live in a single wide or a double wide?
Oh my gosh. They're Asian. Sophie appears to be Asian. Yes, she does look more like me than Luke, but she's not the spitting image or anything. Still, she looks enough like me that I find it hard to believe that she isn't my blood.
What? This was so unsatisfying. This was so viciously unsatisfying.
You know, we're gonna go down this rabbit hole with her because she's got the entire like divorce to go through. She's got the entire like court case, right? And then by the end of the year, I'm going to reach out to her after everything and be like, so you want to come on the podcast?
Talk to her now.
Dude.
Just reach out and be like, hey, we've been following your story on our channel.
Yeah.
Do you want to do a podcast with us? You can just be over voice. Like, it doesn't have to be like if she wants to keep writing every down, like it can just be over voice or like.
Well, technically, she can't talk about anything legal. So she would just be reiterating the entire situation that we already read.
That's true.
So it'd have to be until after the court cases are.
Yeah, I think we should reach out to her now, though.
Yeah.
Just
Oh, yeah.
kind of like,
For
wait,
sure.
when things can happen, will you agree to come and talk?
Yeah.
Worth it,
Even if it's like a year after.
right? Like, yeah.
Because I'm still like, this is so much investment that like, it's not going to be just like, 3 or 4 weeks. Now it's going to be like an entire season. It's insanity.
Who came out of who's hoo-ha?
Yeah, Jesus. The DNA results for Sophie from years ago has her lawyer requested it to be authenticated. I have a sneaking suspicion Luke and Amy created bogus results to discredit you, or they could have someone else take the test for him. Does Luke have a close friend who might be willing to do a favor for him? What about Jim? Do you think he would take a test for his son? Also, can you clarify whether or not Kat knew the entire time Amy is Jim's biological daughter? We have, yes, as far as anyone can tell, it is authentic, but I have my doubts. I don't know if anyone would be willing to assist Luke in such an endeavor. It wasn't Jim, though. He would still have shown up as a grandfather. Kat didn't know until recently when Luke and Amy were growing up. She always kind of assumed they would get together. Damn, that's insanity. I'm just reading like some of the comments. Dang, this is crazy. How does that happen, though? How do you take a DNA test and then it's just not, like, it's all authenticated too?
Like, that's what I'm trying to figure. Like, it's that the thing with him saying like, oh, okay, that's not my kid.
Yeah.
Through a DNA test, like,
Really
she can go get a DNA test and make sure she's the mother, so there's no birth switching stuff. But like,
I think she would have to, because this was all done, she said, legally. Like, all tests were official. So I think the courts made them go get it done, which means that they have to test everyone. Because Amy even tested. Amy and Luke were told that they have to get a test.
Yeah.
Which is weird, because if on one child, it's literally saying that it's not her father. What if the DNA results are doing the exact same thing as when they're being tested with Amy? That's crazy. Do we have any science people in here? Like any scientific sciencers?
Sarah's a science teacher. Should we sit down and do some Punnett squares?
Yes.
We'll live stream some Punnett squares.
Well, fuck. That's another fucked up update.
Fucked update.
Fucked update.
TM. Copyright.
TDM. What? TDM?
TM.
TM.
Trade copyright.
With the circle.
Yeah.
Yep.
That's how you know it's official.
Comment down below what you think is going on. If you have any questions, concerns, any answers on this, because I would love to know too. Like, subscribe, follow. I don't care if you like my channel or not.
I don't care if you love me or not. You can whatever. I literally don't even like care.
What is that guy's name that commented that?
I don't know.
Did you motherfucker?
Bye, Felicity.
Bye, Felicity.
You can't say titty on the internet. Titties.